You already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live.
Right now.
Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul Sporting with the talk. First lady from New York,
Brooklyn.
All my people, you rocking with the chat.
Hit that.
The like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the NBK. Born and raised up NBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's her.
shine. Dope Soul,
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul,
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul,
What?
Dope Soul,
What?
your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the channel. Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk, a member of the NBK family. I'm going to apologize from the beginning if my video gets a little glitchy, if my audio gets a little glitchy. This is not my condition. It's just where I happen to be, visiting the fam for a few months. And believe it or not, no high-speed internet. So I'm on the hot spot tonight, doing what I can, because we have a lot to talk about, and I'm super excited about it. The Knicks appear to be going all in, trying to build a team to beat Boston. I think they looked at the landscape. Boston won the championship, and they feel like whatever we're gonna do, Boston is not a fluke, so to speak. This is not going to be a one-time thing. They sit atop the East, and if we're going to win a championship, it's probably going to go through Boston. What can we do to match up with them? And I think re-signing OG, whether you think it's an overpay or not, we'll talk about that, was part of the strategy for them. Going out and getting Mikal Bridges, whether you think there was too many draft assets or not, was part of their strategy. It remains to be seen what they do with Hartenstein. The moves they're making up to this point, or not making, so to speak, when it comes to the draft, leads me to believe that they at least want to take a shot at Hartenstein. And we'll talk about whether that's even necessary, whether any center will do, whether, Mitch, provided he's healthy and a backup, center will do. We'll talk about that as well. We'll talk about the draft. At least for me, I can't tell you anything about the players, but I do want to comment on the draft strategy. So we'll talk about that as well. So let me bring in the rest of the crew. No phone calls tonight. I might drop a link if somebody wants to hop up on the panel for a few minutes and give their take. But let me bring in Ajay and Geoff. Shout out to the chat, by the way. All right. How you fellas doing?
Great.
Good. As it's always a pleasure and honor to be here talking about the Knicks, our favorite team. the only team that really matters, but our favorite team.
Glad to be here. Glad to have the chat. Glad. I'm excited to chop it up. We got so much to talk about. Man, it's been a busy week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Apollo Williams. He said Queen on that cable vision dial-up. That's what it feels. That's what it feel like. Oh man, it's a tenuous situation over here. But my little hotspot, I got my one little bar. We're gonna try to make it work. There's so many ways we can start. Oh, shout out to DJ Shuttle. All aboard. Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Shuttle.
How you doing,
Party
Shuttle?
now.
Oh man, we've been in contact, so I'm charged up.
Yeah.
Everything's all aboard. Everything's a go right now.
Okay, I don't need this. Take that out. Yeah, there's so much that we can start with. Let's start with Mikal Bridges. Let's start with Bridges. I know, Shutter, you want to start with the draft, but let's start with Mikal Bridges. We're gonna get to the draft.
Hey, listen, we start with the Knicks, so we can start anywhere we want. It's all good right now.
Okay.
Everything's all good right now. We can start anywhere, stuff.
All right. Um, Thoughts on the trade for Mikal Bridges, and in your answer, do you think it was an overpay in terms of assets? And I will bring up the particulars, but I believe it was 4 unprotected first round picks. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. 1 protected first round pick, 1 through 4 from Milwaukee for 2025. A pick swap, if I'm not mistaken, and it might have even also been a second round pick somewhere, in
It's
there.
Brooklyn's pick that we owned. We gave it back to him.
Okay, alrighty. And those unprotected picks, one of them is in 2029 and one of them is in 2031, where this team, as presently constructed, may be well gone. But anyway, just your thoughts on Mikal Bridges. What was your initial reaction? Where do you think he fits for? Well, one at a time. Initial reaction with the signing. Ajay, your thoughts.
I love the signing because obviously Mikal Bridges he's a very good player. He's going to help the team. He's going to make the team better. And he's a talented player both offensively and defensively. So it's a great move for us to. Whenever you add talent, it's a great move. Okay. So the cute story with the Villanova guys and the fit and the chemistry and all that makes it even more enticing and more appealing and more. I don't want to say Hollywood, but it's a nice little story. So overall, I'm okay. Basketball wise, it's a good pick, and I think we kind of talked about that. I didn't think they would go for that, but I'm glad they did because I don't know if you remember a couple of shows ago, maybe even last show, one of the basketball upsides with Mikal Bridges, he could play the 2 or the 3, so he could be a 2, and if OG Anunoby goes down, which, OG Anunoby, he's injury prone. So we know what we have. We know who's on our team. Okay. It's not guaranteed, but so far every season he's missed a few games. So those few games you could slide Mikal Bridges at the 3 and then have DiVincenzo take his shooting guard spot. So he's a good, it's good. It's good for us to have that. So he's not only adding talent, he's a good player, he's good defense, but he's also insurance policy for OG Anunoby. So basketball wise, I think it's a great move. Do we talk about the overpay now or later?
Later. We're gonna do one question at a time. Just a quick reaction of how people felt about it when they learned about it. Geoff?
Well, I was kind of split right down the middle. I love Mikal as a player. It's a big price to pay for a guy who's never made an all-star team. I'll say that. He fits perfectly with what we have. That's not the return I necessarily expected for that amount of assets going out. But fit matters, and so, do I think that Donovan Mitchell is probably a better player than Mikal Bridges? Yes. Do I think that Bridges fits with what we have on this team right now better than Donovan Mitchell does? Yes. Do I think that in the present term that the team is going to be better? Yes. And this front office has done a good job outside of one season where the Kemba thing just didn't work out, but really improving incrementally, getting players like Dante DiVincenzo, just growing the team. Obviously, when we got Hartenstein and Brunson, so every year they've continued to progress and to get better. It just feels like with what they've given up, this is pretty much what we got now. This is what we're going to rock with for a while. And so it's got to work. I really feel like this is a team that has to win the championship now with the moves that are made. And I think they have the potential to do that, to be honest. But I think if we don't win it all, then I think you have serious questions to ask. But again, you look at the calculus overall, and I'll say this: I think that the front office looked at the landscape overall, and they said, Embiid's not becoming available. Giannis isn't coming available. So we have a window here where we can strike, and we have our contracts where they're good right now. Let's make this move now. Let's improve. Let's get into all in. Let's go all in, shoot our shot, and see what we got. And I have to respect them for that. Even again, that we'll get into the overpay part of it, at least in my opinion, later on. But I love Bridges, the player. The price tag was high, in my opinion.
All right. Well, we definitely going to get back to that. I don't think you're the only one who feels that. DJ Shuttle, just your thoughts when you found out that the Knicks got Mikal Bridges.
I was hyped, and all I could think of was, man, I just hope this means we are absolutely still going to lock in OG because he had not
I
signed
remember
or
that.
had an agreement yet that was known. And I was just a little fearful that it might be kind of a one or the other deal situation, but I didn't think that that was smart or reasonable. And yeah, and I said, man, as long as we're gonna still re-sign OG, now that we have both of them, we are prepared to go against the Eastern Conference leader in the Boston Celtics, able to match up against Tatum and Brown by having OG and Bridges to go against them. And this is the way this works when you're building a team. You have to be able to beat the top dog in your conference. And I was like, oh man, Tatum and Brown, OG and Bridges, let's go. You know what I mean? And that was my first. That was my actual first reaction. And I didn't get the compensation immediately when I saw that the trade happened. And I guess we'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah, we will. We can actually get into that now. I don't think I have much to add. I think he's a great fit. I was also worried once we signed him. I was like, I can't get too excited until I see what they do with OG because without OG, we just rearranging chairs on the deck. Um, they signed OG, and I said, okay, all right, now. And for me,
Now,
and we'll talk about this later in the show, a lot of people may not agree with that, but I feel like we need Hartenstein as well to close this out. We'll talk about that, later on in the show. But let's talk about the compensation for Mikal Bridges. If you felt it was too much, if you're concerned about where the Knicks are going to be in 2029 and 2031, and if those unprotected first round picks will come back to bite us. And even if you do think that, is it still worth it to have a shot at winning a championship? So, DJ Shutter, we'll start with you. We'll go the other way. When you learned about the compensation, did you bat an eye? Did you have any concerns at all, or you
well,
were
you
good
got to
with it?
remember, you're talking to a DJ in the nightlife, right? So, you know, I come from the space where people pay $300, $400, $500 for a bottle that they could buy for $50, $60 in the store. You understand? So my ability to rationalize and to be able to understand the value of the dollar and how it fluctuates pending circumstances is very liberal. Yeah, I mean, so when I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, of course, that's definitely more than I would like to pay. But am I happy that we paid it to get the guy we got at the moment in time that we got him? Absolutely. It's a whole different thing, right? If you did a 4 or 5 first round unprotected picks to Donovan Mitchell 2 years ago, and the team is not feeling like it's on the verge, right? But minus some injuries last year, this team's in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, even without Bridges. So right now, I'm thinking, all right, yeah, all right. So we're gonna spend a little bit more right now. There's a gang of picks that you still got to use. Like this was now the time to push the chips all in and say, this coming season, we're looking to go all the way.
Right.
We want Boston. That's the chant, and I'm screaming it from now. We want Boston, and I feel like that putting those draft picks all in for Bridges is what put us there. And I'm the biggest Hartenstein fan out of anybody, and I've been saying, please sit Mitch and put this guy in there. And I know we may lose him because of these moves, but listen, you sometimes you gotta pay to play, man. And scared money don't make no money. Like I grew up playing poker, so you gotta put the chips in, man. And I'm happy that they did. There's been so much talk about, oh, we got all these picks, they're not using their picks, So it's like, listen, people, you gotta decide which side of the fence are you on, okay? What side of the fence you on? And you gotta remember, as much picks as we gave up in this deal, because we've been hoarding picks for so long, it's not like we stuck dry with no picks. We still have a decent number of picks over the years that'll be happening every other season, and you got a team that's locked in for the next 4 to 5 years. These picks are going to be 24th, 26th, 28th, 29th, 30th. You understand what I'm saying? So, and you got a gang of second round picks. Listen, good deal. Short answer, good deal.
All right. Geoff, then Ajay.
Well, 7 years is a long time from now. And in 2031, everybody who's on the roster now might not be on the roster then. And if they are, Jalen Brunson going to be 34 years old. So there's certainly a risk dealing unprotected picks that far into the future, because let's be honest, we're a Jalen Brunson injury away from being a lottery team. Let's be honest. Jalen is that good, right? And maybe we're a little bit above that. Maybe we're a playing team without him. I don't know, but depending on how they shape the roster, but to have surrendered that many unprotected picks that far into the future certainly gives me pause. Now you win the championship, doesn't matter, because that's this whole business. That's what you're here to do. They haven't done that in my lifetime. So if this gets us a championship, then the cost was worth it. But if you're 29 or 30, if it's 29 and 31 and we're giving up 2 lottery top 5 picks to the Nets and setting them up for the future, like they did for Boston, we're all going to be feeling really cruddy about then. So, this is maxing out your credit card to get the thing that you want in the moment, and then worrying about the huge, massive payments, which you may or may not be able to afford later on down the road. Now, I think Shuttle is exactly right. I feel comfortable up through 27, maybe even through 28, because we're a pretty young team. Everybody's in their prime. But again, those last 2 unprotected picks certainly give me pause. But again, he's such a perfect fit. Is he the best player that you could get? By no means, but to have those 2 wings, to be able to battle Boston and not have to worry about double teaming anyone, right? Because they can play those 2 big boys from Boston straight up. So you can just keep Jalen on Derek White and just keep him from shooting, right? Just keep him right there. And then, we have to worry about Kristaps if he's healthy, but again, he's under the knife again. He may start the season on the DL. Who knows how he comes back from that? And then, you have Drew Holiday, who's, it's probably, in my book, their MVP, but that's another story. I don't want to talk about Boston. But so from that standpoint, you want to beat the best. You got to sacrifice. I just think personally, and I'm not saying the deal couldn't. I don't think the deal would have happened unless we gave that up. I just don't know if that price point is a little bit rich. It's a little bit high, in my opinion. But we're dealing with the Nets, so we're dealing with a tax there. So, I understand it from that point of view as well. And the other thing that you said on Simbo the other night is, and I think it's a good point, we didn't really give up any players in this deal, right? We
Right.
45-year-old Bojan Bogdanovic, he had a couple nice shots for us in the playoffs, but he was a cup of coffee in New York. He wasn't part of our. We didn't know what we had with him moving forward, and frankly, the reason we got him was to make a trade like this. So,
Right. Right.
Bridges, we got to win now. That's the thing. You got to get the title.
I mean, this is what I will say, Jeff. I think it's just another way to look at it is you're giving yourself to a good chance to win now. And yeah, that may mean that in 2029 or 2031, maybe you get the fifth pick. Maybe you get the third pick in that draft and it goes to Brooklyn. I think the question is, are you willing to give up this opportunity we have right now, even if you knew that in 2029 the Knicks would get the number one pick? Even if you knew that, and we don't even know, but even if you knew that, would you give up this opportunity for the number one pick in the 2029 draft? Because what are you hoping to do when you get the number one pick in the 2029 draft? Build a team just like you have right now so you can win a chip. I mean, right? That would be the reason to be happy about the number one pick, because you feel like, yo, we have an opportunity. We got a cornerstone to eventually win a championship. But you have that opportunity right now. So for me, I feel it's just a flipping of the timeline. Even if the Knicks were to give up a number one pick in 2029, just another way to look at it. Ajay, just your thoughts on the compensation?
Queen, before my thoughts, listen. Shout out to the chat, right? It's hot. It's hot over there. There's a lot of movement, a lot of conversations going. But man, y'all need to hit that like button though. We have 33 likes. There's almost 200 people listening, man. That is insanely anemic. So let's hit the like button. And come on, man. That's all we ask. And of course, Silk Sutton, shout out Silk Sutton with the super chat, Queen. I know you're gonna go over that in a little bit.
Let me read it real quick. I almost missed it. Appreciate you. Silk Sutton, appreciate the super chat. Appreciate you rocking with us. Queen, is Deuce gone after drafting, is it Kolick, to sign iHeart?
No.
We were talking about that. Me and Geoff were talking about that before we came on. What if the price to sign, iHeart? So basically, the Knicks, if the trade for Mikal Bridges, as reported, if it goes through that way, will hard cap the Knicks at the first apron, and they won't be able to sign Isaiah Hartenstein. So they need to include something else in the trade or dump salaries some other way to create that space. And me and Geoff was talking about, what if McBride went in that trade? Would you be willing to, include McBride in the trade if it gave you the flexibility to sign iHeart? So we can talk about that a little later. I know people have strong feelings about that. I would say yes, because as Geoff pointed out, and we'll talk about it again a little later, how much time is McBride going to get now with Bridges in the fold? That may change his minutes as well. Great question, Silk Sutton. If I don't forget, I should say, I'm gonna run it through the panel.
I'll be sure to help you with the condition stuff. I got you.
All right, appreciate you. Got my backup. I appreciate you. Ajay.
Well, okay. So in terms of overpaying for Mikal Bridges, I think we did. I think we overpaid for him. And it has nothing to do with fit, nothing to do with basketball. Like I said earlier, it's great. It's good that we have him, and I'm glad we did. I'm glad we did what we have to do to get him, to bring him over here, right? But the thing is, we had so the front office had the intel that he was a hot potato for the Nets. So that gives us a little leverage because obviously he basically told him, I only want to go to the Knicks. So don't even try to trade me to other teams because I'm gonna let him know I'm not going. I'm just gonna be a rental. I'm going with the Knicks when I'm done. So that gives us a little bit of leverage to kind of negotiate a better price. Um, Listen, the draft picks, it's a crapshoot, right? You never know. We have, I think we collected about 37 second round picks in the draft that just passed. So we could bring new players for no money, right? So we just don't know. Okay. You could pick a second round player and it turns out to be the best player in the draft. That's happened many times before in the past. But we had some leverage where we could have at least, um, you know, listen, six first round picks, five of them unprotected. Your own unprotected. That's, to me, at least the way the market was going. That's what you trade for Luka or Nikola Jokic, those kind of players. You know what I'm saying? And when the Jazz traded Gobert for that kind of money, everybody was like, "What? These guys are messing up the market." And we're doing the same thing. So and we had, like I said, a little bit. We knew that Brooklyn kind of were cornered. They had to trade him. They didn't have to trade him this year, but they had to trade him at some point. And he only wanted to come in. So we had a little bit to play with. I think we could have gotten.
Ajay, you don't think that also puts pressure on the Knicks though to get it done?
It does. It does. But what I'm saying, it was less pressure. Like they went, to me, way too aggressive. I'm saying they didn't have to go that aggressive. They would have gotten him, you know.
Houston and Utah both were interested too, so I don't think we were the only suitor in
And
town. So
and Philly.
Right. And then
really, I didn't know Philly was there too. I didn't know that, so point being that you weren't. It's one thing if you are the only guy on the block, but they didn't have to. The Nets didn't have to trade him to the Knicks. They chose to trade him to the Knicks. So now I don't know what those other offers looked like, but I think that when there are multiple teams vying for the services of the same player, that's going to up the price.
Right.
And you've got to make an offer that's like, all right, I'm not gonna let you leave the room until this deal is done with an offer like that. And that's what the Knicks had to do. Like they had to blow them out the water with an offer and say, yo, listen, this offers, if you guys don't do this deal, we're gonna walk out of here because this is a crazy offer that we're giving you. And it had to be an offer like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you think the Nets want to send a player to the Knicks and watch the Knicks compete at the top of the conference, win a championship in the same city? Oh, you got to be kidding me. This is bigger than the Nova Knicks. This is bigger than, this is bigger than anything. It's like, who cares where he only wants to get traded to? This is about you don't trade to a team in your own city that you have a love-hate relationship with, or you have a hate relationship with, to send them a player that's the final Infinity Stone piece to send them to the championship. You don't do that. Of course, you have to overpay for that.
Listen, I understand you had to overpay. I'm just saying, if I would like to have been like at that negotiating table to see how that conversation went, but I feel like we could have negotiated a better deal. Listen, like I said, I don't have
like we did with Donovan Mitchell, because the Knicks that was part of why that deal fell through, because the Knicks trying to play hardball, feeling like there was nobody else that can do what they did. Right? They come in with 4-6 round picks and this and that and whatever, and they lost out on Donovan Mitchell that way. I think they learned their lesson. I think that's why they came strong from the beginning. Like, they weren't going to be outbeat by one first round draft pick from another team.
And maybe this is me rationalizing, but I kind of think that if you don't look at it in a vacuum, but if you look at our assets in totality and you look at the OG Anunoby trade, where we didn't give up any picks and all we did was give up young players, and then you look at the Nets trade, where, and again, this is coming from someone who thinks it was an overpay, to be clear. But if you look at it, that all we did was give up draft picks, then, in other words, if we had given up, let's say, 2 of those picks and only one of IQ and RJ, I'm not saying that that could happen, but if it was that, and then we gave up the balance in this trade, would we feel the same way? I don't know if that. In other words, if you look at those trades in aggregate together, because I was amazed that we were able to get Anunoby without giving up any picks. I thought that was really a coup, and part of the reason behind that was to make another trade. I didn't necessarily know that Bridges was going to be the guy. I thought it would be a bigger name than that, but a bigger name didn't shake free. A bigger name may not shake free. So again, maybe I'm just rationalizing here, but as I'm thinking through it, I think maybe that's kind of part of the calculus too, because one was player heavy and this one was player light. It was pick heavy, and so but if you had done it in 2 separate deals that were kind of a mixture, I think that maybe it wouldn't look as big as an overpay, but there's such a large volume of picks here that it maybe makes it seem bigger than it is.
And the other thing, Ajay, for a pick, if you're not giving up any rotation players, don't you think you have to give up draft picks? Like if you're going to give up some rotation player, like a really good player, then maybe you can hold on to some of your draft picks. But if you're not giving up any rotation players, don't you think you're going to have to come heavy with draft picks?
Like I said, we had the intel that he wanted to be traded. He went to them and told them, "I want to go to the Knicks." Okay, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, so we had him on our side already. You know what I'm saying? So there was no threat of losing him to free agency. I mean, we could have lost him to another team for a season or 2, but most teams wouldn't take that chance on him.
Okay, so Ajay, I hear what you're saying, right? So now what you're saying is, to Steph's point earlier, now you want to play hardball, you want to drag this out, and you want to give other teams an opportunity to make an offer that is, if it's comparable, if it's even close. Are the Nets sending him to another team if the deal's close, or are they gonna give it to the Knicks?
No. So I don't know how it went in the room. That's why I said I wish I could have been at the
No,
table.
but this is a question. This is a question, though.
No, and I'm answering you. So maybe the Nets came to the Knicks and say, "Listen, this guy want to be traded to you." If who knows? Maybe they asked for rotation player and draft pick, and the Knicks said, "No, I can only give you Bogdanovich and draft pick." I don't know. Maybe the Knicks did play some hardball. We don't know what happened. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they said, "No, I want Deuce and I want and the Knicks said, "No, you can only have Bogdanovich and 6 draft picks." You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just saying they had a little bit of leverage, so I would have hoped that they got him for a little bit less, and the little bit less probably would make a difference to us, right?
That's what and you were talking about 2 years later.
Well,
because if they would, so you talking about
it might have been a difference. I'm just saying it's a huge amount of draft picks. I don't know how it went. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the Nets may have come say, I want Randall and 6 draft picks. And the Knicks said, "No, you can have Bogdanovich and 6 draft picks."
So how do you feel about the fact that it's not dragging on? We got it done. We got it done quick.
I love it. I love
and other teams are still trying to figure out what in the world they're gonna do. And you can sit back and relax right now and know you have a championship contending team, and you can just go into this summer league with a smile on your face.
Listen, I love the
as
trade.
opposed to dragging it out just to save a draft pick.
basketball wise, and by the way, we don't know the full trade yet, by the way. So we don't know. It hasn't been made official. We know the basis of it. We don't know the full thing.
Right.
So maybe we're doing all this talking and then they come back and say, no, it's actually, 4 first-round picks and then 20 second-round. We don't know. Okay, so, whatever. We're just dreaming here, right? We're just hoping we know what we want. We want our cakes and eat it too, which we kind of have with him, by the way, because we got the guy we want and we didn't lose anybody.
That's and that's very hard to do.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do. And listen, I get it. Mikal Bridges has not been an all-star yet. He has not been, an all NBA player. But I personally think he's on the trajectory to be that. He has not hit his prime. People consider him a role player right now, and that's fine. But in a year or two, he might be the second best player. He might be the second best player on the team. It's possible when you think about that first year from Phoenix to Brooklyn. I mean, if you look at his numbers, you look at his efficiency, you look at where he shot, particularly in the mid-range, this guy, he fell off a little bit in the mid-range this season. His catch-and-shoot numbers, 43.6%, I believe, on decent volume. I think he's trending up. I really do think he's trending up.
I think it's the Julius Randle conversation part 2. Here you had a guy who was tasked with being the number one option for a team, and that isn't who he is. Well, we're asking him to be the number 3.
Right.
We're not even asking him to be 2. We're asking him to be 3. And think about all the wide open looks he's going to get, and he can hit above the break. He can hit the corner 3. Just like OG was an impeccable basketball fit, there is no question that he fits perfectly, and he already has chemistry with 3 of our best players. And that bench problem that we had last year, now we have Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo as our 6th and 7th men. They were starting for us last year.
Right.
So let me ask a question, right?
Sure.
So we got Bridges, like he obviously make the team better, right? I don't know if I'm a little premature with my question. Where do we expect the Knicks to end like next season? Let's say everybody's healthy, all the teams right now, the way everything's right now, because we don't know what the Boston Celtics going to do. We don't know what Philly's going to do. We don't know what any team's going to do. I mean, we're going crazy, which is and deservingly so because we have a good team, but we don't know what the other teams are going to do. We don't know what other trades going to happen.
Right. So way too early predictions, like the way too early mock drafts. We talk about way too early predictions.
Yeah.
But I say the Knicks finish 55 games, anywhere between 52 and 57 games. I will say for the Knicks.
I was talking more like Eastern Conference final.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna get it. I'm taking a long way. 52 to 57 wins. They're going to finish first or second in the Eastern Conference, either them or Boston, and it's going to be close. And I think the Knicks and Boston will meet in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think it'll be a toss-up.
Nothing for me to say.
I think they'll be evenly matched.
I couldn't have said it better myself, other than we want Boston. Let's go.
Geoff, you? What?
Well, I want to see what we do at our 5 spot first.
That's a great point.
I still think that if you're talking Isaiah Hartenstein is back in the middle, then we're winning the chip. That's me. No ifs. I think if Hartenstein is back and we have those other 2 boys and Mitch is here and everybody the rotation, if we have Mitch and DiVincenzo and Hart on the bench, we parade, Canyon of Heroes, the whole 9 yards, if that's the case. Now, if we lose Hartenstein and we're relying on Mitch and some combination of Batadze and Jericho Sims and
Andre Drummond,
I don't know. Now, like I said, if it's Hartenstein and Mitch, I'm feeling real good. But if we lose iHeart, I think that to me, and maybe it's just me, I think that's a bigger loss than a lot of people are giving credit for. I don't know. And maybe it is true that you can just plug in an Andre Drummond and you're fine. I don't know if that's true or not, but I would at least have pause about the 5 spot because that's been a position of strength for us. And without Hartenstein and with Mitch's health being what it is, I mean, if you're without both of those guys, what does the lineup look like? Who do you have coming in? I think that is that's not an unsolvable riddle, but I think it's a question that I need an answer to before I can definitely say, oh, this team is winning 55 games or whatever. But I think we'll know that answer in pretty short order. I think,
Right.
come free agency, which is like a week and a half. So we'll get those answers pretty quick. But for me, I want to hit the pause button. Let's find out what we're doing about the 5 spot. And look, Leon Rose and Brock Aller and company, they deserve a lot of credit. We'll talk about more of this with the draft stuff, I'm sure, but they're really working overtime about squeezing every ounce of juice out of the orange that you possibly can, and I have a lot of respect for that.
So,
But I do think we've got to.
so Queen,
Great
but listen,
segue. One sec. Just great segue, Jeff. So we're gonna switch to Hartenstein right after, since you brought it up, and then we'll double back to OG. Go ahead, Ajay.
I'm gonna say one quick thing, right? I heard I asked you the question, and you told me what you would expect to feel that we did something, right? Maybe I'm full of myself as a Knicks fan. So we won 50 game, right, and ended the second seed. When the playoffs started, you know what I said, and actually when we got eliminated by the Pacers, we had that conversation. I don't know on which show here or NBK or whatever, and like I think we all agreed that listen, if we didn't have any injuries, we would have made it to the Eastern Conference Final. And once we get there, it's a toss-up.
Right.
That's literally the same thing you just said. So this year's team, we expected that same thing.
I think you got to give credit to a team that's actually been there and got over the hump in Boston. So I'm not going to sit here and say just because we're real good on paper, and we are, that makes us the favorite in a series with Boston. I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna say it. And maybe we are. Maybe by the time we get to the playoffs, we will be. But sitting here before the season starts, I'm gonna say it's a toss up. But I hear if you want to say right now that the Knicks are the favorite, I'm not.
No,
Listen,
I'm
I'm
not
not gonna
saying they're the
argue.
favorite.
I'm not gonna argue with you.
That's not what I'm
No,
saying. I'm
he's
saying
saying,
we expecting
oh,
the same thing.
yeah, all these moves,
okay.
you gave up all these draft picks, and you're not even going further than what you said than what you thought you could have
Right.
did
So
last year if the players were healthy.
I
But
would like to go further. That's what I'm saying. I would like to.
But I don't think I felt like the Knicks were the favorite against Boston if we would have got there.
It's a toss up. It would have been a toss up. We listen. They could have beat it. They could have beat us in 6 games. It could have gone to 7 games, and you never know what could have happened.
it could have been a sweep.
Could have been a sweep. It could have been, but listen, we had no business losing to the Pacers. We all know that. If we had one more healthy guy, Boston probably would don't even make it to Game 7. We know that.
Yeah, but the Philly matchup was like a second round matchup in the first round too. So
That was like a final.
that was like
that's like an ECF actually.
Yeah, so but they had their injuries and everything that they went through. So, and then then the Bucks had their injuries and they had a new team. They got a new player, Dame Lillard. Same thing like what the Knicks are going through. So, you get a new player in the team, like you think it's gonna go well, but you have to actually do it. And the Boston team, for the most part, their key players have been there for a few years together. So there's a certain chemistry where you add one guy to all that chemistry, and they're for the most part healthy, other than the one new player. So it's a little easier for them to to ride to the sunset like they did this year. So we want to be pumped up, but we can't be screaming championship before we even start putting it on the court. We got to at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals first.
And there's levels to it. There's levels to it. But I do want to say something though. There's a difference between this team can get there and this team is a favorite. Because yeah, sure, last year's team could have gotten there, but this year's team has a better chance to get there, right? Like people will say, "Oh, we can get there without Randall." Yeah, okay, maybe you can get there without Randall, but do you have a better chance with him? Yeah, you do. Sure, we could have got there without Mikal Bridges if we were healthy, but do you have a better chance with him? Yeah, you do. So it's not about what you can do if you don't have a player. It's how much better the better chance this player you're adding makes it. Mikal Bridges it makes it easier, makes it increases our chances of doing so, and increases our chances of being successful when we do get there.
And listen, Vegas is telling you the story, IJ. The New York Knicks,
What are our odds now?
the New York Knicks they have the second best odds in the East. They're over Milwaukee, and they have the fourth best odds in the entire NBA.
10-1.
Boston, Denver, OKC, New York. I'm sorry,
Is it 10-1?
Yeah. If you check the our inside chat, I'll put the info in there
in the private chat. You see it, Geoff?
Okay, I see it.
Okay. Let's move on to iHeart, since Geoff had the great segue, and I gotta be honest. DJ Shuttle said when we signed Mikal Bridges, he was sitting there saying, "Listen, is OG next?" Because without OG, I was sitting here saying we got to sign both of them. Once we got Mikal, I said if the Knicks are serious about winning this chip, we need both of them. And I'm with you, Geoff. I think what Isaiah Hartenstein brings to that starting lineup offensively is underrated. And sure, can you win a chip without him? Yeah, you can. Is it easier when you have a center that the defense has to tend to every single person on the team? And I'm not saying that he's a offensive juggernaut, but what I am saying is the opposing center can't roam when iHeart is on the is on the floor. What I am saying, when you hit iHeart in the middle, we have cutters on that team. It makes our offense a bit more dynamic, right? And that if we're not going to sign him, bring in a similar center. Bring in a similar center who can play good defense, can rebound the ball, and knows what to do on offense. They can move the offense along. They can turn around and hit a cutter. They can hit somebody flaring out to the three-point line. The more dynamic your offense is, the easier it's going to be. That's what made Boston so dangerous. They were switchable on defense, and on offense, you had to guard everybody. Who you double teaming? Who are you leaving to go double team Tatum? You understand? So that's what I think about, whether it's Hartenstein or somebody similar. That's what I think about when you're going deep into the playoffs and you playing these better teams. If you have a weakness, they're going to be able to exploit it. Having five offensive players, go ahead.
I just don't see any centers that are free agents that are out there that fit that bill.
What about Nick Richards? I know he's with Charlotte, but I believe he's a decent rebounder, shot blocker, but I believe also offensively he has good vision. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And then let me do a quick apology. I don't know if he's in here, but we had somebody in the chat during the season trying to tell me about Nick Richards per 36 and how they were close to Hartenstein's per 36 before he became a starter. and how he felt like Nick Richards was on the same trajectory as Hartenstein, and I was giving him a hard time and I was giving him the business. But I think he's right. So any type of center like that, I'm fine. I do not want a center that's just going to defend and rebound. I just don't.
Yeah, well, he averaged just short of 10 points a game in only 26 minutes per game.
What was his assist numbers? I mean,
Uh,
on a
just short
terrible
of
team like that, it's kind of
just
hard to.
just short of one assist.
Yeah.
He shot close to 74% from the foul line. He doesn't shoot threes at all, 0% from three, but he shoots 69% from the field, one block per game, and a half a steal a game.
He probably.
But
Now, is he a free agent?
No, he
no,
would have to trade for him.
I
No.
mean, he probably. He
No.
probably. Shuttle. You said one assist per game.
yeah,
He probably passed that ball like 10 times to a shooter and they missed 9. he's on he's on the Hornets.
So what I'm saying is, if for me, I'm pulling for iHeart for that type of center, and if you can find somebody cheaper that's in that mold, I'm all for it. If not,
well,
bring him back.
the money that you're paying Deuce is the money that you're paying him. But the Hornets, I believe, drafted a point guard, so they might be reluctant to
To trade their center.
to trade him for for someone at that same position.
Appreciate you, Knicks 100 GM. But thoughts on so this is the question for the panel. Thoughts on iHeart? Do you think he's replaceable? Do you think that I hate to say the Knicks can win without him. Yes, the Knicks can win without him. Does he make it easier for the Knicks? Do you think just your thoughts. Do you think that should be a priority for the front office, or they should just go with someone cheaper and spend that money elsewhere?
I love
DJ Shuttle,
iHeart.
and then Ajay, and then Jeff.
I love iHeart, and I despise a player going into year 6 that has no bag, no threat, is playing hot potato with the ball when he gets it. You feel like it's a turnover waiting to happen. Like, I've been a big iHeart supporter, and when I saw the draft coming, I'm like, all right, yeah, we got to get up out of these draft picks. We got the drafting stash. I know that kid said he's coming to play this year, and I appreciate his spirit, but we're going to have a talk with the kid later because we need you stashed for a year right now to free up some of this bread. And, unfortunately, he's not replaceable by anybody in free agency that is quite near the player that he is. You know what I mean? And if you're going to get somebody else, it'll have to be a trade. And then with the apron restrictions, that might even limit the possibilities of being able to do that. This new collective bargaining agreement. This is not like, when you were in school and they had like Math 1 and then they had pre-cal and calculus. The old CBAs when you could make deals and whatever was like that was like the 8th grade math. Like now the CBA is like pre-cal and calculus, the classes you ain't even take. It's like, I'm not going to school to be an engineer. I ain't taking those classes. Well, that's where it's at right now. Is that complex in terms of what you can do and what restrictions you have. So it's gonna be very hard to replace them. And just to quickly double back, that's what makes being able to get OG the way we did and to get Bridges and to get these guys now all locked in their prime, which is what makes that such premium work. Like, you guys have to really appreciate this, and it may take another year or two to see where other teams won't be able to Voltron up the way this team is, because there's a lot of restrictions now. But yeah, man, hopefully, someone like Richards becomes available. Hopefully, it's someone that is maybe like Plumlee comes in and these guys overachieve. Like, I think to a lot of people, iHeart very much overachieved. They didn't really know who he was. They were unfamiliar. I like Jalen Smith also. So, if we don't get iHeart back, I think that, I think that anybody coming here sees the Knicks team as a championship contender, and they're gonna come here like locked in and focused to ball out and play their best ability. So I think that's definitely a plus. But please find somewhere to send to send Mitch. If you got to send Deuce, sorry to see him go, and bring iHeart back in here. I like the point guard the Knicks got in the second round today, Kolek. Um, you know, I'm all for experienced guys, but this guy is, he's a college veteran player. He's not a one and done guy. He led the NCAA in assists. He knows how to get a team into the offense. That's what he specializes in, and he has a good shot. So, a lot of TJ McConnell comparisons, and I'd love to have some of that coming off our bench if it meant we were losing Deuce.
Okay. Ajay, your thoughts on Isaiah Hartenstein? Let him run. I mean, let him
No,
go.
no,
Oh wow, somebody said
no.
I love Kessler, but he's more defense, rebounding, and elite shot blocker though. But I love Kessler. I loved him in the draft.
He can shoot too, Kessler.
I
He's
believe
got a pretty
so.
decent shot. Um, no, we're not gonna let him walk. We're gonna do what we can to keep him. Like if we can't make it work, we can't make it work. But we're just not gonna tell him, don't let the door hit you in the back on your way out. Um, we got to do what we got to do to keep iHeart. Was it last at the beginning of last season or season before that? Everybody was talking about continuity. Well, what happened to that now? Let's try to keep that. And this season, like the end of this going to next season is like probably the one season I felt like we should really run it back, like do the continuity thing right now because we have a good team. We just had a couple of injured guys that impeded our way to stopped us from going further. We have to do what we got to do to keep iHeart. Listen, he's replaceable. Most people in NBA are replaceable, but you don't want to do that, right? You want to keep the guy that you have, the guy that already knows the system, the guy who already has chemistry with the team, with the existing team that you already have. So you want to keep that going. If we can keep him here, yeah, I would absolutely do what I got to do to keep him here. So and not to mention Queen, a lot of the positives in his play, the way he plays, the way he passed the ball, especially now you're gonna have more guys moving around, more guys cutting, so it's just gonna be even more fluid. So I would do whatever I have to do to keep him. If we can't keep him, for the money, listen, I think the front office they're gonna have to figure out a way to work it out.
Do you
If
think? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say, they if I think they have it. I think they have it laid out already. That's why they announced the OG Anunoby trade. Because, come on, man, CAA for CAA. You don't think they could have told OG, listen, take $2 less million a year or $3 less million a year. You're not gonna go broke, man. We'll do what you got to do, man. They would have figured it. I think they already have it in the bag. If they want to keep him, they already know what they're gonna do to keep him.
We're gonna let Jerrell in, and then I wanted to
Uh,
whenever you're ready, Jerrell. Um,
hap, oh,
yeah.
go
Oh, you
ahead.
got to be let in. Yeah. Whenever you're ready, you could just come in. Or you need me to let you in? Oh, he might not be ready. Um,
Oh, I think he's ready.
what was I gonna? Damn. Y'all know my condition. Just that. Oh, do you think do you think Bridges' arrival and Bridges' ability to set other people up? Um, he has a high assist rate. At least I think it was that first year with Brooklyn at least. Do you think having him there means that iHeart is a bit more expendable on the offensive end? The fact that he can generate offense for others, or do you think no, it just makes us even that more dynamic? Jeff, we'll start with you.
Oh, that's a great question. I think we still need iHeart. Like I think he does do those things, but you looked at Boston and it's their versatility, right? It's they can kill you
The
with
versatility,
all
yeah.
five spots on the floor, and that's who you're chasing. So, um, let's be realistic about it though too. There are there are only a couple of avenues there are two avenues that I can see where we can keep Hartenstein, because remember, as the deal with Brooklyn is constructed now, we are hard capping ourselves at the first apron because we're taking back more salary than we're giving out.
Correct.
Now, so you have to have that $4 million gap that has to be replaced. And so one way to do that is to include McBride, which I think was on the table before. The Knicks were kind of against it. Now that we have Kolek in the wings, I kind of think that may be back on the table. I have no inside sources on that, but I think you have to consider that highly, just in my opinion. The other possibility is to do a Precious Achua sign and trade and include that as part of the deal with Brooklyn. And so you start his salary at $4.5-5 million, and that only the first year, it has to be a 3-year deal, but only the first year has to be guaranteed. And so that would open up that space, and that would hard cap us at the second apron instead of at the first, and that puts us where we can just squeak in the 16.6 or whatever it is, the max that we can get for the 4-year 72 to bring in Hartenstein, because we've done everything else that we've needed to do in the draft. We got the 3 players in. We can use the drafted. There's a second round player exception that doesn't count against the hard cap. We can use that to bring in all of those players and keep ourselves from getting that. That eliminates our extra roster charges, and it keeps us from having to sign veteran minimum players who would be more expensive. So you would be able to just barely, there wouldn't be a lot of room to that second apron. Remember, a hard cap is a hard cap. So if you're hard capped at the first apron like we are now, the most we can spend is probably $4 or $5 million to get a replacement for Hartenstein, and that's where the Goga Batadze name comes from. If you've seen that, there aren't a lot of other guys. Perhaps an Andre Drummond comes across the pipe for that amount, but really, those are the two avenues that you're talking about. If we want to keep Hartenstein here. Now, the other possibility is if we let Hartenstein go, there's a possibility of trading Mitch also. Actually, trading Mitch also and getting ourselves some flexibility, and creating like $10 million, like bringing back someone who's making like $4 million less. And I think that might be another avenue where we could bring Hartenstein back in the. But again, I'm not sure about that because, as Shuttle said, it's really complicated. You have the hard caps and everything like that, and again, I'm pretty sure with the rules, if we're taking in more salary than we're going back in a trade, and you can't stack. It's crazy. You can't stack minimum contracts. Like we can't just throw in Diakite and Daquan Jeffries, because you can only do that from like December 15th to the trade deadline or something crazy like that. So
Right.
ideally we could have just stacked in those two, minimum salaries, but you're not allowed to do that. And that's why you kind of have to get creative with these other two things. But,
Right.
the Mitchell Robinson thing wouldn't allow us to keep iHeart, but maybe bring in someone, who is more available,
Right.
and durable, because if it's just Mitch and it's not iHeart, I don't feel good about that 5 spot at all. I mean, Mitch he's missed half the season worth of games 2 of the last 3 seasons. You've got to have someone in there who's available.
No doubt about it. Shout out to Jerrell gracing us with his
Yeah.
presence.
Let's go.
What up,
See
family?
you,
What
my
up?
guy.
Oh
Happy to see
man.
y'all, man. Salute to the chat. What's up?
Yeah, we miss you. I said, what you boycotting the show? I thought maybe I said something. I did something.
Nah, man. Know what happened? Know what happened? My kids got out of school, so that's what happened. So I've been ripping and running for the past couple weeks. So, but I'm here now.
Jerrell,
All right, all right.
happy New Year, happy Easter, happy Father's Day,
Thank you. Thank you.
happy Juneteenth, because I haven't seen you in
It's
such
been
a
a
long
while.
time,
It's been
buddy.
a while, AJ. AJ always acting like I be gone for a month. I
You was gone for a month.
missed like 2 shows. Bro.
Yeah, 2 shows is like 3 weeks apart. That's like
Yeah.
6 weeks, man.
That's true. That's true.
That's true. Just your thoughts on we didn't get the OG yet. We're gonna do him next. But your thoughts on the Mikal Bridges trade. I know you were high on him. If you felt it was a overpay, and then you could drop your thoughts on whether we should try to sign iHeart or just use that money elsewhere.
Okay. I was actually listening to the show in the car, so I know everybody had their thoughts on Bridges. I just feel weird every time we get somebody we talk about, is it an overpay? This time last year, the conversation was, did we overpay Dante DiVincenzo when we got rid of Obi? The year before that, we got Jalen Brunson. Was he overpaid? So, and that's with salary.
Don't forget the Josh Hart overpay.
Yeah, overpaid Josh Hart in the beginning of this past season. Did we pay too much for OG Anunoby, giving up RJ? Like, I think it's just the fan base, and we have so many people in the fan base that every time we make a move, the conversation is always going to be, did we overpay him? Because in the past, we're so used to us overpaying, having to overpay, that they don't think these are good deals. I actually think the Bridges deal is a good deal. I know he's not an all-star, but he's like right there. And the type of draft picks that we got, or we gave them, like, we're not the old Knicks. We're not going to be a lottery team for the next 4 or 5 years, I don't think. Like, none of our best players have reached 30 yet, including Bridges. I think he turns 28 before the season starts. No, it's not an overpay. Like, I don't really care about those picks. Those picks, none of them are going to be lottery picks, unless something drastic happens. If something drastic happens, I'm not going to give a damn about those picks anyway. So, no, I don't think it was an overpay. Bridges was my second target for this team. Donovan Mitchell was the first. I think we did probably give them an extra pick because we hit the snooze button on the Donovan Mitchell trade in the first place, and they didn't want it to happen again. But I'm really, really glad we got Mikal Bridges. I think he's a perfect fit.
Yeah. And I think when we see him up close, first of all, I think he's going to take another step. And I think once we see him up close, all of the overpay talk is going to go away.
Right.
Thoughts on iHeart?
iHeart. If we resign iHeart, I think we go to the finals. So I'm pretty sure everybody on the team is in his ear. I think everything that we're saying, the team, the organization, his teammates, even his wife has probably talked to him about it.
Hey, Jerrell, I said, I gotta reach out to World Wide West. We need World Wide West to get some type of brand ambassador deal for her with a 2-year package, $2 million, $3 million a year.
Yep.
To make up for the $2-3 million that he might be losing.
Yep. Put her in commercials. I want her on MSG.
Billboards
she
all
can
over
sit
the
next
city.
to Monica McNutt for all I care. I don't care. I don't care about none of that stuff.
Sit on her lap if you have to.
No. We're gonna leave Rebecca where she at. Maybe she can replace Rebecca Hollow over there.
Whatever. As long as iHeart stays here, you can have an iHeart sandwich in MSG, make a combo out of him. You could do anything to make him stay here, because if he does stay here, I actually think we're going to be we're not going to be the team to beat in the East because of Boston. I don't want to disrespect them. They're coming off a championship.
Right.
We're going to go through Boston next year. And I think we can beat them if this team is fully healthy and we can re-sign iHeart. The Mitch situation, is kind of funny because if we don't re-sign iHeart, obviously I would want to keep Mitch. But if we do re-sign him, then Mitch can either, I don't know, be happy in the role that he's in, or we can try to get some compensation for him. But our number one priority right now should be to re-sign iHeart.
What's your thought about we can bring any center in here that can average 8 points, 8 rebounds? People don't talk about the block and the steal though, which
Right.
for a center, Mitch does the same thing, which for a center
Right.
is phenomenal. But what's your thoughts about the sentiment that you can get anybody to come in here at that center position and give you 8 points and 8 rebounds?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say anybody. I mean, to have Mikal Bridges though, but have him and OG on the wings, obviously it gives us a little leeway, especially when it comes to defense. But I wouldn't say give anybody. If that was the case, I think we would have just drafted a center in the first round and just put iHeart in the win if it was just anybody. So the Knicks don't think they could just get anybody, obviously. So it can't be just anybody. We need iHeart. And if we don't get iHeart, I'm still not saying that we won't win the chip, but it just will be a little more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people talk about how we was able to get to within one game of the Eastern Conference Finals without Randall, and but I'm like, look what we had to do. We were on fumes.
Right.
Everybody had to play over their head every single game to make it happen. It's a little easier when you have the pieces. Now, not that it can't get done, but it's easier when you have the pieces.
We
You
we was
know?
talking about beating Boston with this team fully healthy.
Right.
Now this team can be fully healthy with Mikal Bridges. So yeah, we should be at least the favorite for the number 2 seed if we're healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, at least. Yeah. I definitely agree. Um yeah, I think the chat is split. As I was putting it up, some people felt like he's replaceable. He got manhandled in the playoffs. Listen, it's team defense.
Right.
It's the bottom line. It's team defense. And with the wing players that we have right now, he might not see any work back there at all.
Right.
As far as defending
The wings.
defending the rim. For me, it's just about the flexibility and just having the defense have to work at every position. Go ahead, Ajay.
No. Go ahead. I was just
No,
ad
I was
libbing
finished.
what you say.
And I wouldn't even say that Hartenstein isn't replaceable. I would say that with him, you want him. It's the same kind of conversation we had. Are we a better team with or without Julius Randle?
Right,
We're obviously not a better team without Julius Randle.
right,
With him, we're great. I think with iHeart, we'll be great. Not saying that he can't be replaced and somebody else can't get rebounds and
right.
block shots, but I want him in order for us to win.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about iHeart, you want to segue over to Mitch? Like what? I, I
Sure.
mean, are we? And this is the question I'm gonna ask. If we have to, like, I don't know how it'll work. Like, if you can't just trade Mitch and not bring in some money, right? So, like,
Yeah, that's
if
true.
you and I hear that people say, well, trade Mitch and keep Hartenstein and bring, you know, I don't know, Dwight Howard from retirement for $200,000, but you can't just get rid of Mitch. Like you have when you send him somewhere, you're gonna bring back some money, right?
Yeah.
So what I mean, do we? I don't know. Do we? Are we comfortable with Mitch and his lack of availability, and just keep him coming off the bench and maybe limit his minutes to kind of reduce the chance of injury, or what do we do with him?
Well, I mean, you got to think about it. Mitch doesn't make that much money, though.
He does it, but without his money, let's say his money's not there we'd be able to sign iHeart. Like that wouldn't even be a discussion.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, we can't get around that. We will have to take back
We have to
what we
take
give
back.
out. So I don't think Mitchell's situation, salary wise, has anything to do with iHeart right now. Can't.
Right.
And one thing I'll say about Mitch, Ajay, is that before the injury, don't forget Mitchell Robinson was looking like a defensive player of the year candidate before he
That's
got
true.
hurt.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And he got to play exactly 0 games with OG Anunoby.
That's true.
Now imagine the defense, if he can get back to that level with OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. And
But
by the way, he's still the best rebounder in the game, offensive rebounder in the game.
Yeah, I get that, Jeff. But how much better does your defense need to be? I mean, we keep doubling down on defense, tripling down on defense, quadrupling down on defense. In this NBA, you got to be able to score the ball too. In January, the Knicks were the #1 team in defense, or 1 or 2 in defense without Mitch. We were top 5 in defense for a significant part of our season without Mitch. So every time people talk about Mitch, they talk about how he was an all elite NBA defensive player. We all know that. That's not the knock on Mitch. The knock on Mitch is not what he can do defensively. We all get it. Defensively, he's elite. Offensive rebounding, it's elite. But in my opinion, it doesn't make up for the offensive end. It just doesn't. You got Mikal Bridges, you got OG, you got stout perimeter defenders. Now you still need an elite rim protector. Who's getting to the rim? You understand what I'm saying? I feel like if you got those, if you have elite perimeter defenders, your rim protection doesn't have to be elite. You know? And I don't want to sacrifice offensive fluidity to double and triple down on some more defense when we have Mikal and OG. That's just my part.
Well, I'm not making the argument of iHeart versus Mitch. I'm saying that if iHeart's not here and Mitch is, it's not the end of the universe. That's all. Look,
Yeah.
I'm on record. I think iHeart should be the starter. I think things go better when he's there. I'm just making the point that, again, it's not as easy, but if healthy and Mitchell Robinson is the starter and you can't get iHeart back for whatever reason, salary cap wise, look, maybe iHeart gets a big offer from Orlando. What if he gets, $24 million, right off the bat? That's possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something the Knicks can't, we just saw Nick Claxton get 4 years, $100 million, right? If that sets the market, if someone's going to pay him $22 to $25 million, it's tough to say no to, $6 to $8 million less per season, if you're Isaiah Hartenstein. So there's a world where, where multiple things happen. I was not saying all of that to make the case for Mitch over iHeart in the starting lineup. But I also think that in the Philadelphia 76ers series, Mitch did a much better job against Joel Embiid than iHeart did.
He did.
And I think that he saw that. And I don't think that, and even without Julius Randle, we had enough offense to win those games.
We beat Philadelphia.
We won the series.
We won the series by 1 point. I don't think, that Philadelphia series was nip and tuck. We needed every basket we got. We won that series by 1 point. But anyway,
That's
like I said, I understand. but you said that we didn't have any problems, scoring points. Wait, listen.
We scored more points than the other. What was our offensive rating?
Yeah. You trying to tell me that we didn't struggle offensively with that team? We was hoping Josh Hart could score 20 points. He had to score 20 points a game for us to get out of that series. I'm just saying. Anyway, Sherwin. No, I do not think the Knicks are a better team with Ihart or Mitch. Mitch missed most of the season. Mitch missed most of the season, and the Knicks won 50 games. In January, we were 15-2 without Mitchell Robinson, and we had the number one defense in that over that time. So I'm not sure how you. I'm not sure what you, how you come now. I'm not saying we can't use Mitch. I'm not saying we're not a better team if we have both iHeart and Mitch. But you're not going to convince me on this particular team where we have the perimeter defenders that we're a better team with Mitch. You're just not going to come. You're not going to convince me of that, and I'm not going to convince you of that. You think the world of Mitch, even though he's limited on the offensive end. You don't seem to care. Okay.
I think Mitch is a backup.
I agree.
I think Mitch is a not on the Knicks team. I think he's an NBA backup. He's like his skill set, and what he brings to the game. If you look across the NBA, like at all the centers in the league, and every team in the league, there's only a handful of teams he'd be able to be a starter on. Maybe 5 teams he could be a starter on, and those 5 teams are all teams that are lottery teams. Like there's no top team that you're replacing their center with Mitch. That's just my outlook.
Queen, yo, Shuttle talking that mess. Sherwin's about to log off. Sherwin, hit the like button before you leave.
Hey, listen, I'm just speaking of facts here. I mean, like Boston's not taking Mitch over KP. Philly's not taking him over Embiid. Okay, I mean, Brook Lopez, no. Indiana, no. Cavaliers, they're not taking Mitch over Jared Allen. Miami Heat, they've had Bam Adebayo. They're not taking him. I mean, like all of the teams that are relevant teams, like the center position is just too. It provides too much two-way capability.
I think what a lot of us are saying, and D Coolest says Ihart gets burnt a lot. He's not better than Mitch defensively, but I think a lot of people, when they think of Mitch, is they just focusing on the defense. They're not focusing on the offense, and they're not focusing on having, whether it's Ihart or not, the how much easier the game is when you have a well-rounded center. How much easier the game is when all 5 players can handle the ball. Whether it doesn't have to be Ihart. Doesn't have to be Ihart.
Whoever it is, and I will challenge you, those that are out there, check the stats when Ihart was a starter. Not only did he average more points, he also averaged more rebounds. And he's getting just as many blocks and just as many steals. He's shooting just as, if not more efficiently from the field. So
and he hits free throws.
He hits, free throws close to 70%, and he's giving you a handful of assists, and you don't feel nervous when he has the ball. And he has to be accounted for, whether he scores or not. And there's not really a whole lot of defense in the NBA anyway. So, with him getting burnt from time to time, considering how hard he hustles and how many rebounds he gets, all right, he gets burnt a few times. Sure. Mitch gets burnt too. You know how many times I've seen Mitch just standing there, and I'm like, yo, you really just stood there? You didn't move?
Do you think the Knicks win the Philadelphia series without Mitchell Robinson?
I don't think the Knicks get the second seed and 50 wins without Ihart.
That's not the question I asked you. That's not the question I asked you. The question I asked you.
We did need him. I agree. We did need.
He, and that's why I said Mitch is a capable backup. He's a capable backup. Like he played the role. He played the role perfectly for his skill set in that series. You're not going to score. You're going to play some defense, and you're going to be the energizer defensive guy off the bench. And that's what he did. And that's the player that he is. And my starter though, that can't be the starter. Like if he's the starter and that's his stick, like it needs to be 13 rebounds a game. It needs to be like 2.8 blocks a game. You understand what I'm saying? Like it can't be 8.7 rebounds and 1.3 blocks. And that type of offense.
I think that you can make a case that if you let him play alongside OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, that you might see those numbers.
Hart is obviously a hot commodity in free agency right now. If both of them were free agents, who would get a bigger bag?
Isaiah Hartenstein, easily.
Well, that should answer your question.
Well, but it wasn't.
It's not
who's the better player. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's really who him or one or the other. I think it's, we really need both. That's really the bottom line.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I said the same thing. To me, Mitch is a backup. We have him here as a backup. We sign our heart as the best of both worlds. But if we have Mitch as the starter, and there's not somebody that's better on the bench, I'm not gonna feel as confident about the team as I would if it was iHeart without Mitch.
I agree.
Yeah, and Coach said it's 8 points. Coach, you already know it's not about the points. You already know, and 8 points ain't 8 points, right? Is not about that. It's about the other things that you're doing as well to move the offense along, move the defensive along. Yeah, we can get anybody to come in at that center position and score 8 points and pull down 8 rebounds. That doesn't mean that they're going to make the offense as dynamic as it is, right? So it's not about the it's not just about the points.
Yeah.
Yes, Mitch did give us second chance points, Coach, but so did Isaiah Hartenstein gave us second chance points.
Yeah, they're actually not that far when it comes to offensive rebounds. I think iHeart is a better all-around center, and Mitch is a better defender. That's all it really comes down to.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Right. And listen, you're right. Hartenstein is limited offensively too. Don't get me wrong. And when I talk about iHeart, I'm not even talking about his scoring. I'm talking about his passing and him helping to move the offense along, and how you can't just leave him, because he does have the little floater. He does have this little 2-man pocket pass game going on with Jalen Brunson. But I agree with you. Is that JL or JI? He is limited offensively too, in terms of scoring. He don't have a bag. We ain't talking about throwing the ball down to him in the post and letting him go to work. That's not what we're talking about. But we're talking about having an offense where a motion offense where you could just, everybody moves the ball, cut, everybody knows what to do when they have the ball on offense. You're going to need that when you go deep into the playoffs. And I think we underrate that. Having somebody who you don't have to tend to can create problems the deeper you go in the playoffs. But anyway, anything else before we move on to OG?
Hold on. Let me put the OG segment hat on.
All right.
OG. Hello.
I was about to say we about to get into that overpaid payment.
We about to get into listen.
Always.
And not just the overpay for role players.
Yep.
That's what it is. You're not just overpaying, but you're overpaying for role players who are not stars. I gotta be, yeah. Okay, so we were all thinking, or most of us was thinking, maybe 35 million. And some of us may have thought, wow, 40? That's a lot. I mean, we had the show. Was it last week when we talked about it was a risk, but it was a risk the Knicks needed to take. At least that was my take on it, that it was a risk and the Knicks needed to. When it came in at 212, though, I was like, I put the calculator.
Well, hang
I was
on,
like,
though. Hang on. Hang on,
40.
Queen. So the first year salary is going to be 36.6.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
With
telling you what
8%
my
raises.
I understand. I'm just telling you what my initial reaction was when I put it in the calculator and saw 42.5. However, whatever it is, the Knicks needed to sign OG. They needed, and that's not even the max he could have gotten. That's not even the max he could have gotten.
He gave us a discount.
He played 12 games, though. I mean, like, I just have mixed, like, I love OG. We needed him, but we can't discount the fact that he is injury prone, and we hope that he can play 60 games.
Being in the Philadelphia area, I fully expected the Sixers to give OG a max contract. That was
Absolutely.
word around town for the past like 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
So yes, he could have left if he wanted to. He
And that's 4 years, 180.
right. He could have he gave us a discount.
Oh, he
So-
did. He
So
did.
for me, he's not over. That wasn't an overpay either. He just makes a lot of money. There's a difference.
The coolest said he was thinking 20. Nah, I knew. I knew that wasn't gonna work.
Nah, this ain't 2015. Like, no, that's not gonna. That wasn't gonna happen at all.
I think we do this a lot with contracts, though. It's like Steph said, she saw the 212, and it's like 200 million. That's
A lot of
first of
money.
all, it's the biggest contract the Knicks have ever issued out in the history of the franchise.
Mhm.
Think about that. But the thing about it is, I think what we need to start doing when we're looking at these salaries is analyze the salary as a percentage of the overall cap. In other words,
Right.
when Miller was making $25 million a season, it was a $100 million salary cap. So he was making up 25% of your entire salary. And, he was an all NBA player, so that was about right. Well, OG is taking up about, I don't know, what, a sixth of
Nah,
this.
I think it was 22 to 23. I don't think it's 6% of the cap.
No, I said 1/6 of the cap. Not that's a lot more than 6%.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it may even be as high as a fifth. I don't know. I don't know what the exact salary cap.
I heard it was
didn't see it.
23 to 26%.
Okay.
That's
So-
significant.
But the other thing that I want to say about that is that with the Mikal Bridges deal probably means that Jalen Brunson's going to sign an extension this summer in all likelihood. And that means that we're getting him at a discount. So if you're getting Jalen at a discount, which we already are anyway, it's okay to pay him 36 million. I mean, is it ideal? But again, the star players in the league, the hyper maxes, look at Boston. They're going to have two $60 million players on their team, and Tatum and Brown.
But he's not the best player on the team, though.
Yeah, but he's not making $60 million either. He's making, almost half that. And it's crazy.
42 is not half.
36 compared to 60.
36 in year one. It's
Right.
not the average. It's what he's going to get this first year.
Okay. So.
But when you
60%.
using 60, is 60 the first year or 60 the average?
Well,
If you're
I don't
talking
know.
about 60 million is the average for Brown or Tatum, then you got to talk about the average for
Okay, so you're
You
talking
know.
about $18 million less. I apologize.
We should
But $18
definitely
million less per season is a lot.
Yeah, Jalen Brown is coming in this upcoming season at $49.3 million.
Yeah, we should be talking averages, not what they make in the first year.
Okay, so he'll be $13 million more this season, and then probably 8% raises for both players over the course of a contract. You would figure. Is that reasonable?
That makes sense, to be honest. Yeah. we can talk about OG's injuries too.
That's the only thing. If we were talking about a fully healthy OG, I don't know if I would. I don't think I would care. I'm just saying it's a risk. That's all.
I'm not
That's
gonna
all
lie.
that we had to take. That we had to take.
I honestly still don't care, especially since we got Mikal Bridges.
He can slide in at the 3 when we need him.
Because Mikal Bridges don't never miss games.
And bring Devo
Knock on wood.
into the 2.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we were 26-6 when OG played. That's 80% winning percentage. That
Like, if I was the-
80% of 12 games though. And I'm being
32
facetious. I'm being facetious. I know.
she just hard on OG tonight. He's throwing dirt on his grave. Get him out of here.
No, it's one of those things where it's like, yo, we need this guy. We have to sign this guy. We can't lose this guy. But it's still fair. I still think it's fair to talk about how much money he commanded versus how much he plays. I think it's still fair, but we had to do it.
How much money is Kristaps making?
KP.
That's another one.
I have it up.
That's another one.
Porzingis is at 29 mil and 30.7 the following season.
Okay, so he's making more than Kristaps, and he's going to probably play about the same amount of games as Kristaps, because Kristaps missed probably 20 games this year himself. So you're making a similar bet to the one that Boston made on Porzingis.
For more money though. But yeah.
More years.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not-
listen, if we were sitting here today and we lost OG, I would be with everybody else saying we should have paid. I'm not saying we should not have paid him. All I'm just saying is it's a risk. That's all. I'm not saying we shouldn't have paid him, because I would have been sitting right here like,
Hey,
we
man.
lost OG. We lost OG. I missed the super chat. Okay. I sure did not see this. Miguel P. Appreciate you. You can't trade players that walk in free agency. Both Mitch and iHeart are replaceable, but as an apron team, that only happens via trade. Well, iHeart is a free agent,
Right.
and Mitch is under contract.
Yeah, right. Well, it had to be a sign and trade, but I don't think that with the apron that the Knicks would even be able to do sign and trade with iHeart. So
No, you're correct.
you'd be talking about only being able to trade Mitch to free up a couple of dollars to re-sign iHeart. And I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not gonna hold y'all. I'm a little bit petty. I'm in petty rehab, and I'm also the type of person that don't let things go. Okay. So for the last almost 10 minutes, I've been going through the depth chart of every single team of who their center is to see what team Mitch could go to and be the starting center of that team. I've got 3 teams and 3 teams only.
The Hornets.
The Hornets are maybe.
Maybe they got Mark Williams.
They got Mark Williams, who's not really that bad.
Right.
But I got them down as a maybe. I got Golden State, but they had the rookie that came in that was pretty good. And the way they run their offense, they probably like that guy better than Mitch, to be quite honest with you. But I got Golden State. I'll give you Golden State. I'll give you the Hornets, and I'll give you the Magic. And maybe the Wizards, but they just drafted Alex Sarr, a 7-1 rookie. That guy looks incredible. But I'll give you the Wizards too. So you got 4 teams that Mitch can go to and start. So like don't over pump me with the hype on Mitch and what he does and who he is, because if he can't go someplace else and be a starter, don't throw the gas on me about him being a starter here. You got 4 teams. And if you think that he can start for more than 4 more teams, we need to go on a separate live and we need to have that conversation. Me and you, whoever you are, that want to talk about that.
Who's the center for Orlando? It's still Wendell Carter here.
He was their starting center this past season.
And he's a free agent, so he might not even stay there. Right?
Wow.
Right.
Well, they're trying to get iHeart. Orlando is.
Right.
It-
As they should.
Why wouldn't they be trying to trade for Mitch?
See, that's what I think a lot of fans don't really get, especially since Mitch is coming off how many surgeries he had this past season?
3.
3. So yeah, like one is just a hotter commodity right now. Mitch got to have at least I wouldn't say a full season of being completely healthy. That's saying like too much, but at least give a season with like 65 to 70 games in order for him for his stock to be up again.
No, Wendell Carter has one more season. Actually, he has 2 more seasons.
Oh, does he? Okay.
He's coming in at 11.9 and 10.8, descending contracts over the next 2 seasons.
Oh, that's cheap. He should be a hot commodity then, because he don't make that much money.
And they've got the center.
Carter has health issues too, though.
Has what?
Carter has health issues too. That's part of the
Yeah,
problem.
that's part of the problem too. Yeah.
He played 55 games this past season, so
Yep.
he missed quite a few games.
Yeah,
And they also have Wagner at center.
The bad Wagner.
Yeah, they got him coming in on restricted $8 million on the last year's of that deal. Not France, but the I guess the brother, the cousin, Mark.
How many games Mitch played this season?
He missed 49. I mean, he missed at least 49 games because he lost the last 49 games. iHeart started, so and then you got to add to. Let's see what other games he missed behind that. Let's see, New York,
And his so it gets worse and worse with Mitch, man. So
Mitch played 31 games.
And damn.
Okay, he averaged 5.6 points and 8.5 boards. He averaged 1.1 block. That's what I'm talking about. Yo, that needs to be with his offense. Yo, the only way you can shut me up, it needs to be like 3.1 blocks, and it needs to be like 13.5 boards. Then I'm not talking anything about his offense, because that whole defensive of the year thing, like he was good on defense. He was not defensive player of the year type. He wasn't in Gobert status, like not even close. Not even close. So I don't know. You got 4 teams that Mitch maybe could start for. And that's not even, those aren't even like locks. So y'all gotta relax.
Maybe his number of game played per season starting to look like his free throw shooting percentage.
All right. Okay. All right.
He is. His free throw shooting percentage went down this season. Believe it or not, it went down.
Nah, it went to Shaq levels.
Right. I will, Nick Yak, you're right. But this is what I will say. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to find your comment. I lost it that quick.
Ooh, Nick Yak last
Yeah, when he talked about
that
they don't challenge. Yeah, but this is what I would, Nick Yak. If we was back with R.J. Barrett on the perimeter, who else? Brunson and whoever else we had on the perimeter. Yeah, you're gonna need a rim protection center back there. But don't you agree, Nick Yak? If you have Mikal Bridges on one wing, you have OG on another wing. How are they going to? How often, I should say, is Hartenstein going to be challenged? I'm not going to say he's not going to ever be challenged, because I agree with you. I'm just saying, how often is he going to be challenged with those stout wings? How many players are getting in the lane? That's all I'm saying. When we had this conversation at the beginning of the year before Mitch got hurt, before the trade, and I think it was Geoff who said, for that particular team, the way the roster was built, Mitch was the best center for that team because the perimeter defenders weren't good and we needed somebody back there to protect the rim. So the way that team was constructed, Mitch was the better center. All I'm saying is the way this team is constructed, iHeart is the better center.
Absolutely true.
That's all.
100% true. 100% true.
Yo, I like I said, and I'm gonna just
And I
repeat
want to
it.
keep, and if we can keep both of them,
There we go.
oh.
That's what I was about to say, Steph. If we could keep both in the ideal world, that's the type of 1-2 punch that takes you to championship levels.
Because sometimes you need Mitch in a series like Philadelphia, and sometimes you need iHeart in a series like Indiana.
And there we go.
Right. There you go. Sherwin, wow. I want somebody to love me like Sherwin loves Mitchell Robinson. He going hard. He said, Bill Russell, what was Bill Russell's career free throw percentage? If Mitch played with iHeart and Bridges, he can now sit in the lane. But what easy layups are there going to be, Sherwin? With Bridges and OG, how many players are getting in the key? And I don't believe you brought up Bill Russell in the context of Mitchell Robinson. Come on now.
It's getting weird.
Come on.
I'm glad he did those Steph, because that further accents the point I was just making earlier, which is Bill Russell's rebound average is 22.5 rebounds per season. And my brother, this is exactly the point that I'm making.
And he still shoots free throws better than me.
And I'm not even asking for 22 rebounds a game. I'm asking for 13 and 3 blocks. If you could give me that, then Mitch can start, and and he can score 4 points a game, and I'm good. I don't see the difference is that what people I think get misconstrued is like sometimes like it sounds like people want Mitch to be this prolific scorer. I don't. I just want him to be a star at what he does, and he's been pretty good, but he hasn't been a star. You know what I mean? Like he's not a star rebounder. He's not a star shot blocker. He hasn't been a all-out star defender. And you know how we know this? He's never been in the running for defensive player of the year, partly because he doesn't play enough games. He's also not leading the league in shot blocks. He's also not leading the league in rebounds or being even near the top of these categories. So that's what we need. Nothing about scoring for me.
And I think and I think it comes down to who's the better center for this team as presently constructed, and that's just it. Nicky, I keep talking about Mitch doesn't get challenged. I just feel like the team has changed, and we still keep talking about people getting into the lane. Like I think that's just an old story now. He doesn't get challenged. Who's getting in the lane? I mean, sure, there's going to be some stragglers. Don't get me wrong, but this is not going to be a highway like it was when before the trade for OG and Mikal Bridges. It's not going to be an open highway into the lane, so we can relax with the rim protection stuff. Well, and I would say Hartenstein is not a Precious or Chua back. Well, even Precious block shots. He's not as bad a rim protector as people say. Is he as good as Mitch? Absolutely not. But it's not like he's just back there for no reason. Say that again?
He's much better rim protector than Precious. There's no doubt about that.
Right.
Like, there's a marked difference between look, the advanced defensive metrics paint Isaiah Hartenstein is one of the top defensive players in the league. In the league. If you don't believe me, go look him up. I mean, he had a phenomenal season last year. Phenomenal.
I feel like being like DJ Shuttle tonight, and I'm gonna be a little petty. So I just looked up Mitchell Robinson's free throws percentage versus Bill Russell's, and Bill Russell's is better. They both sorry, but his is a little better though.
Bill Russell's like
mean, I
Hall
think
of Famer. Why is he in the same conference? I love Mitchell Robinson,
know.
but why
That's
are we talking about
Sherwin
Bill
did
Russell
that.
and Mitchell
Sherwin did
Robinson?
that.
I know, but it's like I don't know.
Listen,
Yes, Wilt Chamberlain is next. I can look his up if you want me to. I don't think it matters.
We're gonna be
But Wilt
comparing
still
iHeart
averaged
to
like
Wilt
55 a
Chamberlain.
game in a season or something like that.
Right.
Scored 100 points in a game.
Oh boy.
Real quick, one last comment by Sherwin.
Playing small centers. Okay. Sherwin, I'm just trying to understand what's your deal with Mitchell Robinson? Are you related? Like, do you know him personally? No, I'm serious. Because I mean, like wow.
He said it was better than Bill Russell.
We talk about all-time Hall of Fame great centers, and then Mitchell Robinson. One of these things is not like the others. And I love Mitch. Like, Mitch is my favorite Knick, but just know.
Listen, it happens to everybody, Sherwin. It happens to everybody. There are players for everybody that's a bad matchup. That's it. It's not about how is the team's defense with iHeart in there. What's the team's defense? What's the potential for our defense? We're going to be a really good defensive team. That's it.
I would like to stop using Embiid as the measuring stick for either one of these centers that like they can guard him. Neither one of them can guard him effectively.
Nobody can.
Nobody.
Not anyone.
How about no one in the league stopping Embiid?
Yeah, nobody in the league. He did what he did to us on one leg.
And he got better as the series went on.
And played most of the game. Gave him 50 one time, right? On one leg. So I don't think either one of them should take Embiid out of the argument for either one of them being able to play. Neither one of them can guard him effectively.
Mitch did it on one leg. Mitch, Mitch had some really good possessions against Embiid, but let's not act like he was guarding Embiid the entire series. When he came in, he had some really good possessions and he played really well. I'm not taking that away from him at all, and we needed it. We needed everything to win that Philly series, and kudos to him.
Nah, Mitch represented against Embiid and Philly in the time that he played for the most part. Like, he and that's what a good player off the bench does.
All right. So New York Knicks front office, this panel and this chat, most of the people in the chat except for Sherwin would like you to resign Sherwin and a few others, Isaiah Hartenstein. And Mitch is going to be back. I don't,
I hope.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I hope he is back.
Right. I got to make some calls tomorrow and see what's shaking.
Right.
I got to make some calls tomorrow and see what's going on.
Didn't we move on to OG and it turned right back around to iHeart and Mitch? Wasn't we talking about OG?
Mitch is going to
we were talking about OG.
Russell is going to go back to that though, Steph. Like he just so yes, that is the topic of conversation.
Because Sherwin gonna come back and say, "Well, we should have give Mitch more money. Why are we giving OG all that money? Take some money from OG, give it to."
Wait, have we ever seen Sherwin and Mitch in the same place at the same time?
No, you think that's
Sherwin could be Mitch's burner. We don't know.
Luke Sherwin, you know what I mean? Rest up, big fella. Hope you have a good time.
Wrap that ankle tight.
Wrap that ankle tight, Sherwin.
But back to OG. Let's do the way too early prediction on number of games he'll play. No, I'm kidding. If we could get 60.
So
She just on him tonight, boy.
If we
She
can get
on him like
60
white
games,
on
I'm good.
rice.
If we get 60 games and he's healthy for the playoffs, I'm good.
What's this
I'm
year's
good.
salary again? What's the salary this year? 36.8?
36.6.
I don't expect him to play that many games. So I think if you're expecting him to play like 65 to 80 games, I think 65 is like the cutoff.
How many games he played this year?
Hold on, let me
He
check.
he only played 26 for us, and we got him before the deadline.
He
We
played
got him in
22 for
December.
His first game was January 1st.
Yeah, his first game was he played 50.
And how many for the Knicks?
23, 7 for Toronto.
And I think he missed 27 games for the Knicks, right? Anyway,
I'm not-
OG,
it just-
old.
It just
We
has
got-
on it, but
We got a new director of sports medicine, and I think it was specifically for
OG.
OG.
that's funny.
Yeah, no doubt. That being said, if he's relatively healthy and he's healthy going into the playoffs, and this guy he's you can't even tell by his stats. He's another guy you can't, people, you're paying him that for the points. It's not even the points. It's like chemistry, like a chemistry experiment. You just drop him in there, boop, and he just changes it, from powder to glass or something.
Nice sound effect. I like that stuff.
I got a quick question for both of you, and I'll go back to Mitch too. Even though Tom Thibodeau won't do this, with OG and Mitch's history, do you limit their minutes
Yeah.
with the depth that we have? Because we're deep, we can afford to limit their minutes. Not saying Tom Thibodeau is going to actually do that. What you do,
If you don't sign iHeart and you don't have someone that you feel like can step in and be the starting center, I think that they will limit the minutes. And I think now that you really truly have championship, on the like right in front of you that you're looking at, it's not gonna be an all-out Kawhi Leonard situation, but it's gonna be different than what we've experienced. And when you have a player like Mikal Bridges that can slide to the 3 and Dante that can slide to the 2, I think it makes it a little easier to say, you know what, analytics say give you a break, you can sit down.
The thing with OG is that he can get injured at any moment. Like, you could play him 25 minutes a game, and 6 minutes into his time, he gets hurt. Like, some of these injuries, I'm not sure are overuse injuries when it comes to him.
Yeah, well, he's also coming back from injury too. So,
yep.
Depends on where he's at with that.
But again, as Shuttle said, now we have flexibility. You McCall can overlap with him well.
True.
With Julius back in the lineup, that's going to soak up a bunch of minutes, and you're still going to want Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo to play a solid number of minutes too. And if you're going to play Deuce some, that should afford all of those guys chances to rest. I mean, if you utilize your rotation, and there's no reason not to. I mean, all those guys are rotation worthy NBA players. I mean, I don't see any reason why you would not put them on the court. I mean, it's not like the same Deuce that we had 2 years ago where you weren't sure. Like, he's shown that he can make enough shots and play good enough defense that you can put him on the floor for 20, 25 minutes a night.
Ain't going to be 25 minutes available.
I know it's not, but you can put him out there for that if you need him. That's what I'm saying.
If you need to.
Yeah. Well, speaking of needing to, and Mitch, though, in minutes, looking forward to see if iHeart doesn't return, how much time we get with Randall playing at the backup center. Some small ball.
Now that we got Bridges, that should be available, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you can put Randall, OG at the 4, Bridges, Dante, and Brunson.
Yep,
Yeah.
you could.
If we still got Precious, he's played Precious at the 5.
Listen,
Yeah,
listen.
I'm not saying that that's
Precious.
not. You could do that. You could do that sparingly, also too. But I'm saying like, yo, all right, yo, listen. I need my best 5. I need my best 5 out there right now.
I
And
could see us closing with that when we need buckets.
yeah, we're
I
not
could definitely see
we're not
that.
playing Embiid. We're not playing Joker, and maybe one or two other centers in the league, right? All right,
I
Randall,
think
we
that
need.
lineup works against Boston, Tuttle. I really
Yeah,
do.
I mean, whether they have KP or they have Horford in there at center,
Yep.
Yeah.
Randall can go against that, and that's what I'm
Okay.
thinking of. Like, you one
That's a good
track mind.
thought.
Yeah, I
How
think
can we how can we beat Boston? That's the lineup. That's the lineup potentially to beat Boston.
yeah, I think
I
Omen
agree.
River got a little bit. I think Al Horford is. I mean, he
He
played
said he's
well, but
coming back for it. I think he said he's coming back.
yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
Out
I'm,
of youth with that guy. He seems to play better with age.
I'm just saying, villain. Whether it's KP or it's Horford, whichever the other two they have in there at center, Randall can match up against either one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually expect Boston to be better next year because I want to expect KP to be healthy during the playoffs.
and Drew Holiday year 2.
Year 2,
Team.
Drew Holiday.
He's supposed to miss at least the first part of the season with surgery already, though.
Yeah, of course, English, we appreciate you.
Listen, knock on wood. We
Luke.
got our own issues over here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
we do.
True.
Yeah.
So what about?
Thoughts? Yeah,
I was gonna say, Steph, what about the draft?
that's what we were about to talk about. I know this is you and Jerrell section. The rest of us can just talk about how we feel about the Knicks draft strategy of trading down, trading out, not I think drafting one player in the second round and I believe one player in the first round and 3 in the second, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, they
All
traded up too, Steph. Give them credit. They did
They
trade
did.
up.
They did trade up to get what his name? Kolick. How do you pronounce
Yep.
his name? Kolick?
Yep.
I like
Yeah.
that kid.
Yep. Tough.
You like him, Jerrell?
Yeah, I like him. I mean, you want to get into the first
Yeah.
round and then on.
Yeah.
I'll go real quick. The kid that we got from France. I mean,
Not yet.
honestly, he reminds me a lot of Kevin Knox.
Oh Lord.
A little slow-footed on defense, but on offense, though, Steph, if you want to talk about somebody that can, stretch the floor, 6'8", 6'9", long wingspan, it can shoot the 3.
Now I'm officially confused. So
you mean?
wait, Jerrell. First thing you said, he reminded you of Kevin Knox.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to tell
Kevin
us how good he could be.
Well, I mean,
How does the
Knox
two
got
work?
30 in a game once.
I'm-
Knox
I'm-
could score.
yeah, I'm about to say you got to think about Kevin Knox coming out of college. Like he was drafted in the first round for a reason.
Yes, shout out to Kevin Knox, man. He's not even in the league anymore, man. Poor guy.
And Ntilikina either. The Knicks have just was a mess before.
Right. So this young dude that we have, he reminds you of Kevin Knox, and he's from France. So that gives you a little combination of the two. But I mean, to me, he's a stash. But in his press conference, he said he wants to play. I don't see him getting any minutes for this team next season.
I don't even see him making it to training camp. I think they move him.
You think no, I don't know about all that stuff. Because he is talented. He's just young. He's only 18 years old. I think he turned 19 soon. But he can get his own shot. He can shoot. He can put the ball on the floor. Long wingspan, 6'8", 6'9". He just, raw. And from the highlights that I've seen or the games that I've looked at, he don't play defense at all, though. He's not a good defender. So with Tom Thibodeau, the way that he acts, I don't see him giving him any minutes anyway. I think this is just a talented stash dude a young talented stash guy that they got.
So
Personally.
you
High ceiling, though. High ceiling. Good
High
big
ceiling.
potential.
Yeah. You want to say something, Steph?
do you think that? So you're saying you don't think they sign him? You don't think he comes to training camp? You think that he stays in France?
I think he stays in France. He says that he wants to play. I don't think it's going to be up to him. He's not going to get any minutes on this team next season. I don't see it at all. but he's talented though.
Okay.
I think the Knicks only want to pick at 25 and 58.
Because yeah, you're right. Yep.
Do you the point guard
Tyler Kolek.
Kolick? Yeah. You think he gets I don't think he gets rotation minutes. I know Shuttle is high on him. You think he does, Shuttle?
I think. Wow, I think that's a big question. I think that the first thing that has to happen is we got to see what happens with iHeart, right? So
Mhm.
if iHeart doesn't come back, then I think the Knicks are going to be more prone to give him a shot to get some minutes potentially. I think when the season starts, he's probably not seeing the floor. But you know, when you sit Brunson, you know, for a game or two here or there, you need a backup point guard if you're going to start Deuce. You know, there's nobody else is going to be the starting point guard, so you need a backup point guard. So, you know, if it's not him, it's going to have to be a veteran that's going to have to get signed. And you know, I think this guy's pretty good, like good enough that they might feel like they don't need to sign a veteran out the gate. So,
Wow.
you know, yeah, I mean, I think he's played a year in the Big East, leads the nation in assists, excellent from 3-point range. He's a clutch performer. Exactly. He's a college veteran. You know what I'm saying? He's not one of these one and done guys. You know, typical Knicks. If you see the past few years where they draft guys, you know, Grimes a couple of years, quickly a couple of years. So I think he's talented, man. Like he was a pick that I was looking at the Knicks getting. If they were to have drafted both first round picks, I was looking at Kolek and, you know, hopefully Ware or, you know, someone on the front court that could be impactful. So the fact that the Knicks were able to get him in the second round and get him for cheaper, I think is great. And if he has to spend some time top of the season in the G League, I'm not surprised by that. But I also won't be surprised when it's, you know, mid season and he's getting some minutes.
Knicks finally the Knicks finally picked a guard that can pass and shoot. Because Kolek, I think he's the best passer in the draft.
Yep.
He's the best pick and roll point guard in the draft as well. He can shoot. I think his 3-point percentage was close to 40. I don't think it was 40. It might have been like 39, 38 or something.
Or something.
Yeah, something like that. Look, so he can shoot, free throws, top notch, best passer. He got drafted in the second round because of athleticism and stuff like that. Like he might not be the best defender, but he's tough.
Truth be told, actually, I saw a side by side of the NBA comps of him and Brunson side by side, and it's like it's eerily the same. You know, like leadership, high scores. You know, his shot, high scores. Like, you know, footwork fundamentals, high scores. But like athleticism, him and Brunson, average scores. You know what I mean? He's also a lefty. So, I mean, I just think that his style of play is so much like Brunson's that, don't get me wrong, like this is no way to throw a shot at Deuce. But I think this guy plays so much like Brunson that it could potentially be a more seamless like application, putting him in the lineup for Brunson in terms of getting the players the ball where they like it, getting the offense set up, because those are not really Deuce's strong points. He's more of a let me get the ball, get out the way. I'm about to, you know, I'm gonna go for mine kind of guard.
In the draft process, he was even asked, who does he look at for his game, and Jalen Brunson came up. That was before he got drafted to the Knicks. So, yeah, I agree 100% with Shuttle.
And he could finish. He makes some terrific. I mean, around guys like Zach Edey. I mean, he can finish. He's tough, and his court vision is spectacular. In my lifetime, there are very few prospects that I've wanted that the Knicks have actually picked. and Kolek is one of them. Like
Right.
he's the only one I can remember. And it's usually when I want a guy, like I wanted Halliburton, we got Toppin. I wanted Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, we got not, and and on and on and on. I wanted Donovan Mitchell. I wanted, all of these guys, but Kolek is one of. I mean, he's not big. He's only like 6'1", 6'2", and I think that's one of the reasons why he's not like the, prototypical. A lot of times they get drafted on their measurables in the first round, because they look like a point guard, or they look. So he's on the smaller side, but he's tough. He's smart. He's a Thibodeau kind of player. And the thing about it to me, and we talked about this a little bit off air, Steph, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if the addition of Kolek made Leon Rose comfortable enough to send Deuce in that package to Brooklyn to make sure he has the room to give iHeart the full $16.6 million.
Wow.
It would not surprise me because what happens is if you send Deuce out in that trade, you're sending out more salary than you're bringing in, so you're not hard capping yourself at the first apron. That gives you the flexibility to go in and re-sign Hartenstein. And in my opinion, Kolek is not the same, but he's not the defender. But again, with the folks that we have, we're going to want to get Josh Hart minutes. We're going to want to get Dante minutes. Shuttle mentioned this before. The window of minutes that Deuce was going to play was a small one. Until
He said was already past tense.
Yeah.
Huh?
You said was. I was about to say, you did say was.
I didn't want to go that far. I didn't go that far, but we just got a Jeff instead of a Woj bomb. We just got a Jeff bomb.
Yeah, you said was. That's funny.
Yo, Jeff, you just said something, and I'm just gonna give you guys a 60-second sidebar. I saw a post today. They were talking about Mark Jackson when he was telling a story about how he was in the at the draft and how he thought he was going to be picked so much earlier, and then the fans were screaming, "We want Mark! We want Mark!" Yo, let me tell you, I was a kid in middle school. I wore 13 because of Mark Jackson, and I had some connects. Well, my mom had some connects, and I was actually at that draft.
Nice.
And hearing the crowd scream, "We want Mark!" as a teenager, being a Mark Jackson fan, like you talk about like a team, the Knicks, like picking the guy you wanted. Oh man, like that was like as a kid, man, that's one of my greatest moments ever.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's a great
That is
story.
awesome.
And not only were they screaming, "We want Mark," they were also screaming, "Don't F up."
That's right. I remember that. They
sounds
sure
right.
were.
That sounds right. But
Incredible.
Steph, in terms with Deuce, if you're looking for a point guard, Kolek is a better point guard than Deuce. Is he a better player? That remains to be seen. Because Deuce is, what Deuce is good at, he's good at.
Right.
But Deuce is just not a point guard.
Right.
He's just a small two guard.
Well, Summer League will tell the story.
That is true also.
Summer League will tell the story. And when he gets busy in Summer League, well, let's just say if he gets busy in Summer League, then we'll see if this narrative that so many of y'all pull out there about Tibbs not giving rookies and young players opportunities, this will tell the story. And I think this is also why this management team is like light years ahead of the game because, truth be told, they didn't have to really give Deuce. They didn't have to give Deuce that money last year. And it looked like, the next day, they're doing the right thing by Deuce. Yeah, you paid him a few more dollars because that makes him a little bit more valuable when you need to send him out, if and when you have to send him out. I'm just saying.
Right. But do we really think Kolek, though, I understand he's 23, so he's an older guard. We really think he can get minutes on this particular team, a championship contending team? You think he can get minutes on this team his first year?
Well, you got to think about it. He's playing behind Jalen Brunson, who is going to get most of the minutes anyway.
Right.
Especially in the playoffs. Like, so how many minutes are you talking for Kolek? Say if we do make the playoffs, like what, 10?
I mean, Jalen Brunson plays 35, 36 minutes in the playoffs.
Right.
Talking about maybe 12 minutes a game.
Even 12. Like we all know, a lot can happen in 12 minutes, particularly in the playoffs. You guys think that he's good? I'm asking. I'm asking. You guys
I,
think he's good enough
I'm
to
not.
get 12 minutes?
I'm not like not beating the table saying
Right.
yeah. It's not. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Let's.
Yeah, he ain't Mark Price, Steph. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. I'm not jumping out the window for
We'll
no
say
damn Tyler
word. We
Kolek.
can
You
use
know
my
what I'm
price
saying?
would be good.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's not John Stockton or nothing, but he's better at the stuff that you want Deuce to be good at. He's better at that than Deuce is. But Deuce is better in other stuff.
Right.
That's all. It's just two different players. That's all. Like
Yeah.
it's the type of guard or point guard that's coming off the bench. What type of guard do you like? That's all. And
Right.
it all depends on how he translate. Like I haven't seen summer league yet, so it depends on how he translate to the NBA game. That's all.
Yes, but I mean
Mm-hmm.
he could be a terrible weakness on defense and get really exposed.
Right.
So and that may give him more of a curve, but the fortunate thing is you already have Deuce, you got Dante off the bench, you got Brunson playing 32, 34 minutes in the regular season. So like you don't have to come in expecting him to do anything actually off the rip.
Right.
You can bring him into playing time slowly and hopefully just get him prepared so that when Brunson has to sit or when they want to give Brunson a night off, that if Deuce is starting, you have somebody that can get in there. Because again, if he's not capable, you have to spend a vet minimum, which is zapping your salary. And that's what you would ideally want to avoid. So, for the sake of the finances, the Knicks brass is going to want this guy to be able to play.
Right.
Christian Brown, not the best player in the world, but he
Right.
played some vital minutes for the Nuggets when they won the
Yes, he
championship
did.
as a rookie.
Yes, he did. Yes, he
You know,
did.
so
And I know we going back, but Sam Cassell was a rookie on that Rockets team coming off the bench.
And Robert
Yeah.
Ory, right? Both him and Robert Ory.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
Sam Cassell, respectable NBA career, but I mean, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Right.
You know,
Wow. That's that. Yeah. Let's see. So, do you think? I know, Shuttle, you saying you don't think they need to sign a vet point guard now. I still think they do. What does the rest of the panel think?
I didn't say that I don't think they need to start.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying I think that because of the finances,
They probably
that the financial impact of a vet minimum, like you gotta get this, probably going beyond one vet minimum is probably going more than what the Knicks gonna want to do. And if I had to bet, that one vet minimum is most likely going to be a center if you lose iHeart.
Gotcha.
Or a power forward if you think you can upgrade over Precious. So, with Brunson, with Deuce and Kolek, you're probably not thinking I need to spend a vet minimum on a point guard right now.
I think so. If you're serious about being a championship contending team, because those maybe it'll be better now. Randall will be healthy, so in those non-Brunson minutes, you'll have Randall hopefully on the floor. You'll have
and
Mikal Bridges hopefully on the floor. So,
They can
it
help
may not be
facilitate.
as bad as it was last year.
That's kind of my outlook, and maybe Deuce is a year better, but right now the pockets are thin. It's not about it's not necessarily that I don't think that. I mean, I just told you yesterday I'd like the team to sign Lowry. I was just saying that yesterday.
Right.
The fifth, five fingers of death Villanova's team that now we got five fingers of death from Villanova. That would be amazing. But and then you could just put Kolek in the G League for the year and put him on a two-way or whatever, and just slowly really bring him along. But at this point, I just think the team financially is going to be too strapped to bring in vet minimum players across the whole team.
But I don't think vet minimum players count. I think even if you're hard cap, you can sign vet minimum. I mean, that's what Phoenix did to fill out their roster. They signed all vet minimum guys. Is there a cap on the vet minimum guys you can sign?
I was reading something about that. Like it's it may put them in the second apron if they depending on how many vet minimums they put to the team.
Oh, listen, the Knicks better get comfortable with that second apron. Tie that
Right.
shit around you. Tie like you cooking, like you barbecuing. Get comfortable with the second apron. I mean, come on. The
We
second
may
apron
not
is
be able to be a second apron team. We may be a first apron team.
I think they're gonna do something, Jeff.
I do too, but I'm just saying there is a world where we're and this goes to DJ Shuttle's point. If we're a first apron team, we sure don't have money to be signing
Right.
a backup veteran point guard.
Right.
When you already have 3 on the team.
Who's
Deuce is 2, and now Kolek is 3. But I think Summer League. I think Summer League will tell us. I think Summer League will give us an idea how the team is going to need to move. Like if Kolek comes in boiling out of control, then maybe they feel more comfortable. If he's showing signs that he's not ready, then you put him on a contract and you have to go to a vet minimum. But I just think that with this many point guards already on the team and the shortage of front court players, that where you need to spend vet minimum is on the front court, not at the point guard position right now.
I agree.
But Gerard, I'll say this: if they do go even if they become a second apron team, the hope is that they bring back Hartenstein, and if they do that, that eats up all that room, and your pockets are just as thin as if you were a first apron team. And I think the majority of us agree that if we want to be a contender, we need iHeart back. So, I mean, I think your financial situation is going to be similar, regardless of whether it be the first apron or the second apron. I think you're going to be skirting right up to that cap level either way, within a few $100,000.
Yeah.
So a wise lady said once, like a couple of days ago, it doesn't matter if we believe in the team that we have. Those other players we believe can get us a championship. Who cares what apron we're in? The problem is flexibility. And we don't need to be flexible if we have a championship team.
Right.
Right?
How flexible is Boston?
Yeah. So it's just we pay the luxury tax. We don't need to be flexible. If we believe in our team, we're good to go. Second apron don't matter.
Yeah, if
Well,
we sign
but
iHeart, I don't care about no apron.
So we don't necessarily have a choice, though, right? It's not like we can say, well, we want to be a first apron. In other words, you take it if you do the trade as constituted, we hard cap ourselves to the first apron automatically. There's not anything unless we include that extra $4 million where we're at least giving equal salary. We're hard capping ourselves at the first apron. It's not like we can go ahead and then spend above that first apron. The rules say that you won't be able to spend a nickel over that amount, and so it's not. In that case, it's not really about flexibility. It's the rules say that you can only spend X amount of dollars, and if we go the other route, then the second apron is going to be our hard ceiling, and you can't go above that amount of money spent. So,
but at least with the second apron,
that.
right? But at least with the second apron, you got iHeart in,
right?
And once you get iHeart in, what else do you need?
You don't need to spend on anything else. That's the point.
What else do you
have
need?
Your players, you don't need to spend on anything else.
No, but that's what I'm saying, though. If you have iHeart in, you're not getting your backup third string point guard that you
you're gonna be hard capped at the second apron, and you're not gonna be able to bring in a point guard. Now I got it.
We get iHeart. I'm putting AJ at point guard. I don't care.
We got to bring.
I thought AJ was Pacome Daddier. Is he not?
Daddier.
Nah, I'm not that tall, man. I wish I was. That kid's like 6'9" or 6'10" or something.
He's 6'9".
Right. So before we get out of here, just your thoughts on how the Knicks match up with Boston right now. Well, That's a good question. Are we doing it? We're gonna do this with or without iHeart?
I'm saying with. I'm saying he signs, man. I don't know how.
They're bringing him back. He's coming back.
Wow, you guys are
They got him
confident.
all locked up.
I wish
right
I was
now.
as confident as you.
Yeah,
Man.
Listen, they haven't announced it yet. This thing's all worked out already. All right.
I kind of,
sounds good to me.
I don't know, man. Seem like I want to know what the group chat look like right now. That's what I want to know.
Is iHeart coming back?
Right, like with the group chat that they all have, when the one person that needs to be the last piece of the puzzle, he already in the chat, so he see whatever they saying.
Right.
So
Listen,
how does that look? That's a crazy dynamic right there.
Just follow iHeart's Twitter. Like when we stop following the Knicks, you'd be like, oh yeah.
I can't do that. I'm too old for that, actually. Way too old for that.
And you know what? I was just thinking to include if they were to try to include McBride, or I don't know if there's anyone else they can include. Brooklyn gonna probably ask for some more picks. Oh, you want us to help you out so that you can, you're gonna have to send us 2 or 3 more second round picks. They may not do it for free.
Them. That's no big deal. Oklahoma City gave us like 2,000 of them. So.
Yeah, we can send them a couple seconds.
But seriously though, how many second round picks? I feel like we have like about 25 of them in the next.
We traded a bunch of them. We only added 2 more, I think, net this draft because we did a lot of maneuvering.
We got 5 yesterday from OKC, so we traded some of those already.
We did.
Yes. Because we moved up from 38 to 34. And I think we got the 51st pick, then we traded the 51st pick, then we got it back, and then we traded it again.
So we added 3 in total. So we had 3 net.
Oh, Steps. Matter of fact, we got off the draft real quick. Did you want to talk about? Do you know anything about Kevin McCullough?
Nope, but can you tell me?
A little bit, just real quick. Kansas. He a Kansas dude. He was a transfer from Texas Tech. Just think of a taller Josh Hart.
Okay.
I think about 6.
I actually like that kid. If he didn't get hurt, I actually thought he would have gone ahead of Furphy. I think he's a better player. But
how
he
tall?
Had some
about 6'6", 6'7".
Okay.
Yeah, they got him listed at 6'6 3/4.
Only thing.
Sorry, Jeff. You said he got injured.
Yes.
during the season. I don't know what his health is now, but I'm pretty sure he missed the tournament. I'm pretty sure that, and Kansas went from like contender to out first round without him. So, I mean, he was definitely missed greatly. Let's just put it that way.
He might have got picked in the first round if he would have hurt.
Okay.
That was the consensus.
And he was like Big 12.
He was a first round. He was a first round. You know, like going into the season, he was the first round. Projection.
And the reason I say he's like a bigger Josh Hart, energetic, very, very versatile on defense. He can't shoot worth a damn though. Can't shoot. Not a shooter.
Damn.
Not a shooter at all. Not from 3. So, I mean, he can work on that. Obviously, he obviously has a little bit of touch because his free throws aren't terrible. Like he still shoots like 75 to 80% from the line, but he's not a 3-point shooter.
You know, but that's crazy though, is that even though he's not a 3-point shooter, his shot looks good in the mid range.
Yep.
His shot looks good in the mid range. So, you know.
So his shot's not broken. Maybe he can turn into a 3-point shooter. That a lot of times I look at that free throw percentage, and if they shoot a decent percentage from there, a lot of times because that means their mechanics are usually good, and it's just a matter of putting in the work, and you can become a better. Jason Kidd, I think, was like that.
But yeah, a couple players like that. I remember Michael Redd when he came out of Ohio State. He wasn't shooting like that in college when he was with Milwaukee. He became a knockdown shooter. Yeah, Michael Redd. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he wasn't a bad shooter, but he wasn't like
he was a mid-range shooter in college.
Yeah, he wasn't no 3-point shooter like that.
Nope. But listen, I think this guy is the perfect candidate coming off an injury, get to the G League, you know, and work on your game, work on your 3-point shooting, and we see you in summer league next year.
That it's good that the Knicks even have summer league players. So what about the center they drafted?
See, now when it comes to me personally, you're gonna need Andy for that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know him at all. Like I
He's
think
from Germany, so we don't
Yeah.
we don't have any
But
tape of. I mean, there's stuff online, I'm sure, but I don't know if anybody had time to look at it between when we draft. I mean, when we
Yeah,
drafted. If you did, let me know. But
I read that he played in the Bundesliga. He played a couple of professional seasons, so kind of
mhm.
like a
Yeah,
lot of the young guys over there. They get
he played in the Australia League. He's been somebody that NBA scouts have been looking at for the last 2 years. So, they're saying, listen, he could basically his ceiling is NBA third string center.
Okay.
so he's
you're
Jericho
not looking
Sims part two, same draft spot and everything.
more or less.
Pretty much.
Wow.
He can't shoot either.
damn. His ceiling is Jericho Sim? Jesus.
I mean, we don't know that much about him.
That's a comment of the night right there.
Like, that's all we got for him. Like,
Whew.
Third string center. I didn't loop in Sims myself. Yeah, I mean third string center. Some third string centers are a little better than Sims.
Yeah.
Oh, he's 58 in what was widely considered a weak draft class. You can't really be overly shocked that he's not,
Right.
probably another stash player.
Yeah.
What happened to Yokobitis? Is he coming back? Well, I guess that's it for him.
We'll see him in the summer league.
Where's Andy? I don't know.
Another potential point guard candidate.
If you traded Deuce, it might be a guy you'd consider bringing over.
He's a major project. There you go.
Rokas or the
No, the center.
Ariel Porto or something like that. I didn't hear of him before the draft, so I don't know anything about him. I didn't know everything about
Huck Porty.
like some.
I think he just spawned in. I'm pretty sure he's an NPC that just kind of showed up out of nowhere.
That's funny.
Man.
Who do you think? Do you think all three of them will be in summer league and be in the G League, or do you
It's
think
four.
that center may not even come over? Oh, 4, yeah.
There's 4 of them.
That number, that first round pick,
I think the French guy is gonna come to the summer league. I mean, he's a first round pick. I don't think he's gonna, not come to summer league. I think Kolek's gonna be in summer league. I think McCullough's is gonna be in summer league. And
he's healthy now.
That's actually a good question. I don't even know if he's even healthy enough to play. That's actually a good question.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest, if he's fully healthy.
Okay.
And the usual suspects: Jacob Toppin.
Yeah.
Charlie Brown Jr. No, Charlie Brown's probably too old.
Not Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown's too old.
He like 30.
I think he's like 28, maybe.
No, he's 28. He's 28.
He's rounding up.
That's crazy.
Oh boy. Anything we didn't discuss before we get out of here? Any questions? Even from the chat? Any questions for the chat from the chat?
Did we answer that super chat earlier? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Let me bring that up. Where we?
I don't even remember what the question was. We may have already talked about it, but I know you said remind you.
Yeah.
While we're looking for that super chat, hit the like. If you no super chat, that's fine, but at least hit the like button. See what we got? We're like 116 likes.
Was it a super chat? Oh, it was. It was this one. I think we talked about is Deuce going after drafting.
Yeah, we did talk about
Kolek
that.
to sign iHeart. The only thing I would say, yeah, if you see Deuce as a shooting guard, and the Knicks don't plan to play him behind Brunson, I don't see where his minutes come from.
Well, he played behind Brunson last season, so I mean, I would think, you know, I mean, Kolick would have to be like, I mean, super duper amazing in summer league and then in training camp to supersede Deuce. I mean, Deuce is, I mean, like, Coach Tibbs loves Deuce, and understandably so. Like he stays ready. He don't got to get ready. He cannot play for games, and it gets 10 minutes and would get in there, and you can rely on him and depend on him to be on the one. Things that other players that are no longer here you couldn't depend on. So he's just not gonna just. It ain't gonna be easy to get Deuce up out that spot, but maybe
Well, I
one
think
day.
if both of them come to camp, I think Deuce gets the minutes. I think this was about, does drafting Kolick mean that they will put Deuce in the trade? Is there other options? Is Deuce the only option to get that $4 million that we
No,
need?
you can do a sign and trade with Precious, or you can do a sign and trade with Alec Burks. Those are the only other two options.
Okay. Yeah, they're gonna have to throw in some more picks if they want to try to throw Burks over there.
I forgot all about Burks, to be honest. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Well, he's not coming back. Well, he signed with Clutch Sports. There's no way he's coming back. But
Yeah.
so I would figure. I just said that's theoretically
Mathematically,
possible.
yeah, mathematically, it's a possibility, but not a reality.
That's
Exactly.
that's the real life equivalent of unfollowing somebody on Twitter. Like, like we're not friends anymore. I'm with Clutch now.
Wow.
So it would have to be a Precious sign and trade. And the other thing is it's about what Precious is making now. So it wouldn't, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it is complex.
But would Precious
was he
do
making
that
$6
though?
million?
Like if I'm Precious, I'm a restricted free agent. You know what? Had the season ended when he was on that good stretch, it would have been one thing. But after that, when he missed the dunks in the playoffs, nah.
Yeah, it was a little plop plop fizz for
Yeah.
Precious.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what the possibilities are. I'm
Yeah,
not
no, I
saying
hear you.
that-
Yeah, he called Precious Alka-Seltzer. Yeah.
That's what I'm laughing at.
Hey, sometimes you
my
need
business
Alka-Seltzer,
without-
Jerrell. So
Without,
you
without
got
the
a
relief,
cold.
right?
Sometimes you
Without
need
the
some
cold water
Alka-Seltzer.
relief it is.
Ah, that was funny as hell. Yeah.
Oh, do we even want Precious back? If let's just say we had the money. Like personally, I think Josh Hart is going to be backing up Randall. But if we had the money, would you guys want Precious back?
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't play, to be honest. He'd just be situational. So I guess why not? I mean, if we need a roster spot, like I'd rather have him on the squad than some of the other dudes that was at the end of the bench.
I'd rather have Precious at the 5 than Jericho Sims at the 5.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
so
Jericho Sims has an unguaranteed, or is it guaranteed?
It's unguaranteed, but it's considered a vet minimum salary. And if it's a partial guarantee, I think. So we have to eat like $600,000 if we cut him. So we're not going to cut him. It's possible we could trade him, if for a second round pick or something. I don't know if somebody wanted him, but he's a partial guarantee, and it doesn't make any sense. Like I said, it's going to cost us $600,000 plus the vet min for whoever we replace him with. So I would expect Sims to either be back, and he's considered a vet min contract, so you can't stack him in a trade.
Right.
For
Yeah, I've had enough of Sims though. But I hear you.
Sims his contract is a team option, $2,092,000.
With a partial guarantee, I think Jeff was saying, of
yeah, I think
$600,000.
it's partially guaranteed.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. I'm looking for the details here.
Maybe Brooklyn will take Sims.
We need more than, but I don't think Sims could go, right? Because that's what
Yeah, it's not enough.
It
It's
doesn't
only
enough.
it doesn't. We're in the same problem.
right.
Yeah, because Deuce make 4, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and we can't stack.
He makes
If we could,
4.7.
Okay. Yeah, so that won't work. You're right.
Yeah, day cap value 651,000
okay.
for Sims.
So I was
Yeah,
close.
yeah. So this is yeah, this whole thing with the cap and the aprons. This is a whole science project.
Yep.
Whole new
That's
world.
I'd rather just tell people I don't know.
Yeah. Nick Gas said we have small forwards and 2 guards and only Randall at power forward and Josh Hart. Josh Hart is gonna play power forward.
And we need him to play power forward because there's not enough minutes at the 2 and the 3 anymore.
Right.
Like if you want to get him his requisite minutes, you're gonna have some time with him at the 4. Otherwise, there's not enough playing. And you want Josh Hart on the court. I mean, he does. I'm not saying you want to play him like we did in the playoffs for 48
Right.
minutes, but I'm imagining you're going to want to play him at least 25.
Right. And that's the backing up OG and Randall, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because you got Devo behind. Even that is not even enough for Devo. Like you got Devo playing behind Bridge. How many Bridge? You think they're gonna be splitting time 24-24? No. So how's Devo getting minutes?
Devo's getting backup shooting guard minutes.
He might
And
be
he's gonna-
1-2.
and
He
he's
might
gonna
be the
getting
backup.
point
He
guard.
might be the backup to Brunson, so that
And
he
he-
can get
And the
minutes.
other thing is he could McCall can play the 3 some also, so McCall could play some 3 minutes, which would give more minutes for DiVincenzo at the 2.
It would, but then that's less minutes for Hart.
Right.
Yeah,
and Hart's gonna be getting some of those minutes at the 4, like you were saying earlier.
right. But what I was thinking that Hart would back up both OG and Randall. But if you're gonna move Bridges to 3, then that cuts into Hart's minutes.
Well, yeah, you're doing a trifecta with OG, Mikal, and Dante. You're rotating those 3 guys, to get the minutes, and you're gonna be 30-ish amongst the 3 of them.
Right. So now you have. So if we go by what you're saying, then Josh Hart is playing just strictly behind Randall.
For the most part.
Oh wow,
It's a good problem to have, though.
it is a good problem to have.
Now we got too many wings. I ain't complaining.
And
That's what I'm saying. There's not minutes for Deuce, so
right,
That is a
curious
very
what
good
you-
point.
because those minutes that Deuce used to get playing alongside Brunson with Dante off the bench, with OG and with
Right.
Mikal, that dubs all of those lineups with him and Brunson together.
And I'm wondering if you see some lineups with Dante and Bridges and Hart without Brunson.
I mean, Dante played backup point when he was at Golden State, so he's definitely capable of it. He's just not a point guard.
Right. But I'm kind of leaning toward what Wiz is saying. I think, and Jeff, I think Devo is going to get back up 1 and 2, and Hart is going to get back up 3 and 4. Otherwise, you paying Josh Hart $80 million for 12 minutes behind Randall.
Yeah, DiVincenzo's going to have to be your backup 1.
You want to get back into the overpay conversation again, Steph? That's why you said.
Well, no, no, I'm saying if you have somebody backing up Brunson, and like DJ Shuttle, I hear what he's saying, because that they can get at least 30 minutes apiece between Devo, Bridges, and I'm missing somebody. OG. I mean, Josh Hart is now just relegated to playing behind Randall. Where's he getting minutes?
He may get some of those in place of Bridges, but one thing we saw, right, was 2 years ago when Quickly was getting so many minutes. He was getting so many minutes uh because Brunson had missed a gang of games that first year. He was out for like 10 games or something, I think it was. So Quickly ended up starting so many minutes, and then whoever the shooting guard was missed some games, so he started some games at shooting guard. And I think that's what will likely happen for Dante. OG's gonna miss his fair share of games,
Definitely.
and Dante's gonna be starting those games, and then Hart's gonna get some of those minutes at the small forward.
Yep.
So it'll be minutes to go around, and it won't be like this exact square formula for every single game, because there's going to be some time off, there's going to be some injuries, whatever, and and this is why you need to have a deep team like we have, especially at the wings, at shooting guard and small forward.
There's no, but I now that we're going through the roster, I don't even see how you get. Where's the minutes coming from? So okay, so now you got OG playing 3-4.
I was about
So
to say,
now Hart is playing what 2-3 now.
Three,
I was
four.
about to say, I do at least agree with half of that. I do think OG is going to get some minutes at the backup four. He almost has to. So
When they were playing OG and Hart together, Hart was playing the 4,
yeah,
and OG was playing the 3 when they were playing together.
right,
and,
interchangeable.
and then the playoffs came, and Tiz realized, oh wow, OG can guard Embiid in spurts. I need to put him on these bigger guys and put Hart on the smaller guys.
Yeah, I don't see Precious coming back. The money is just not. So you've got if Precious is backing up, yeah, the minutes is just going to be.
If Precious were back, he's situational only. If
He's
there's any need,
situational.
he would
Yeah.
play, but he's not going to be part of the regular rotation.
No. You can't just you can't pay Josh Hart what you're paying him for 14, 15 minutes a game.
I don't know, man. This Tibbs we talk about, he don't care about that stuff. I think we care more about stuff like that than Tibbs does. He's going to play who he feels like he can play.
He will, but he loves Josh Hart. I don't see Josh Hart playing 15 minutes a game.
That's true too. I'm just saying it won't be because of salary. It's because I think that he's an extension of,
right.
Like you said,
Gotcha.
I think he's probably his favorite player other than Brunson.
Right.
So I think he's going to get minutes because of that. I
Right.
just don't think he cares about like who's getting paid. Though.
Gotcha.
It's real interesting to see what lineups close games.
Honestly, the starters.
Yeah, I it's hard to see it not being the starters.
It is, but that means Josh Hart's and Dante DiVincenzo are both sitting come crunch time. That's crazy.
Yeah. Every once in a while they may be in there. If they're hot in the fourth, maybe you leave one of the guys in. But nah,
you gotta have it that way. You're right.
But listen, you got Brunson's going to be out there.
Mikal's going to be out there.
Randall's going to be out there. So I mean, the only person you're talking about realistically not being out there is OG. And
I can't imagine OG not being out to close the game.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like what are we really talking about here? So
we're talking about the 5, maybe.
Listen, your starting lineup is going to close now,
and that's what we talked about earlier, Geoff.
Yeah.
Putting Randall at the center, and putting Devo into that starting lineup.
You can close
That's
like
a nice
that.
5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all call him Devo. I call him 3 Vincenzo. Wow.
But if Tibbs can commit to that, because he obviously don't like playing Randall at the small ball 5, but if he does, I like that lineup though.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a nice lineup.
That could be paying for a lot of y'all teams out there.
That's a nice lineup.
So we
But the
want
thing
Boston.
the thing about it is the rebounding has to be on point. OG now, he gotta move up from this 4.4 rebounds per game or whatever he was doing. Then you got Randall has to rebound. Hart
Randall's a
wouldn't
good
be in that.
rebounder.
He will. Hart is not in that lineup, so
Bridges will get you some rebounds, but
yeah,
he's not
he
like
averages
out.
about 4 point something rebounds. Yeah.
It would be Randall, I guess. And Randall's a powerhouse rebounder. He's a double-digit rebounder. It's not like that's foreign.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Randall at all when it comes to that.
And I guess if you wanted to, you could. If you're playing Randall at the 5, you could have Hart in there instead of DiVincenzo, and that would increase your rebounding.
Help you
So-
get the rebound. Yeah, definitely. Can't be giving up.
Bridges. So Brunson, Bridges, OG, Hart, and Randall. I like that 5 too.
Randall.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Being the closing 5, depending, Tibbs is crazy. Tibbs mess around and be like, "No, this is the 5, and that's it." Like it all depends on how Tibbs is adjusting.
Yeah.
Sherman said that line.
I think Tibbs is gonna get paid after Hartenstein. Yeah, small.
Of
ball.
course. Yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah, yes, I do agree with you, Steph. Tibbs extension is coming soon. Has to. So is the front office too. All of them are coming back. They have to.
Right. Yeah. All right. Any other topics, or we can get into last words?
Summer League, let's go. We want Boston. Let's go.
Dates for the Summer League yet? They
July
usually
12th.
July 12th. Ooh, that's
Wow.
fast. Okay, I like that. Okay,
Settle on it, man.
that's
Resign Hartenstein. Let's go.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
Hartenstein, man.
Right.
That's step one.
I heart. Let's go.
Anybody know?
Do we have to?
I was
Do
about
we
to
have
say,
to wait till July 6th to do that?
to do what?
Probably so.
To do what?
Official.
Oh, to make an
To
official.
resign Hartenstein.
Well, I guess that makes it official, but maybe we can announce it before then.
Yeah, all the other
I don't
everybody
know
else is
that we
getting-
will though, because I think we need to figure out what we're doing with the. We have to get the Bridges trade settled first,
Yeah, the full detail of that trade, we don't know what that is.
because it's all dependent upon that. Because we can't re-sign him first,
Right.
so that's got to happen. And after that happens, then we can do the iHeart business, assuming that we can still do the iHeart business.
Right. But what June 30th you can start negotiating. I think you signed July 6th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and they could come up with a deal ahead of time based upon, look, we've worked out this trade officially with Brooklyn. It's not going to come official to this date, and then so they could work it out ahead of time. Potentially.
Oh my God, Paris, you trying to win?
Shout
What
out
you trying to do? Yeah,
He
it's
So
He,
get
he
rid
keep
of
beating the, he keep
in
beating the
comments,
drum
I
and
don't
drum.
even. Yeah,
All right, it's after midnight.
that's why some
Yeah,
I don't
it's
even
after midnight.
I don't even get
It's after midnight.
Andre drum.
any
I'm
any
gonna-
any
I'm gonna
any
say it's after
airplay.
It's after midnight. Yo, one of my favorite rappers is Paris Smith. So
No,
one of my favorite
yeah,
rappers.
I'm
is
not
Paris
trying to
Smith.
get Paris any.
One of my favorite rappers is Paris Smith. So I gotta let him
Why
slide.
why we keep?
Hey, that's you putting that up, Steph, not me.
Leave it. I thought every time I click it close, it comes back. It comes back up.
I meant that's haunting.
Any last
It's
words?
haunting the show. just salute to Shuttle. It's good to see you on a Thursday, my guy. It's awesome. You're doing great work on Mondays and Fridays. Blessings to you and everything that you're working on. Nothing but success for you, Queen. Thank you once again for
Appreciate
having us, Jerrell. It's good to be on the panel with you again. It's been about 8,000 years since we've seen you. So that's what Ajay told me. So I'm just going by that. And salute to you, Ajay.
Yo,
Yeah, man. Salute to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, man. Hit the like button on the way out. Don't forget. That's all we ask.
Yeah, definitely. I ain't even have that window open as spotty as my internet is. I can't even have the another window open.
Show, Steph.
You were
I
clear
know,
as a
right?
bell this show, though. It worked out, and praise God.
All
There we go.
I appreciate you, Jerrell, Ajay, DJ Shuttle in the house. Appreciate you, Geoff, as always. You guys elevating the show. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us. 2:38. We've been on for almost three hours. This is like when we first started.
Throwback.
Hey, listen, you got a lot of action with the trades, the re-signing, the draft. So it's a lot of moving parts today. So we here.
Y'all gotta stop having. You know what's crazy though? We really did not say anything negative about Deuce though. Right. We actually gave him props. It's just him and the new point guard that we got. They do two different things. They're two different type of players. That's all.
Right.
And it's also about, do you think Deuce is more valuable to this team or re-signing iHeart? And if it takes re-signing iHeart to trigger including Deuce in a deal, I'm not saying I want to lose Deuce. I mean, Deuce is one of my favorite players on this team,
right?
Actually, but I don't have these emotional attachments to people or places or things. You know what I mean? The old car, no problem, is gone. New apartment, new house, no problem. We out. You know what I mean? Like I don't hold on to stuff. So it's all about the as they say, the name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back.
Amen.
Wiz, so you see, Wiz, we all like Deuce, so put that like back.
Yeah, I like Deuce. You gonna take the like of it? You gonna take the like away?
Nah, that's Petty King right there.
We doing that?
That's right. Petty King right there.
Right. Paris Duggar, we can't get into that. He want to know, should we sign and trade iHeart and Julius for Cat? No.
What?
I like Cat, but I'm not doing that.
It's time to go.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'm not.
And on that note,
good night, everybody.
Listen, Paris Duggar, you Ajay put that comment up. I saw it. I wouldn't have put that comment up either. That was Ajay. But anyway, I appreciate everybody for dropping by. We'll be back next Thursday. I want to drop a lunchtime show sometime this week, but I can't promise. It depends on how the antenna is doing on top of the.
It's crazy. When you said that, you started getting shaky when you said that.
I know, the minute she said that, right?
Like you start moving your hands and everything went crazy. Like you need to put your hands down. The internet just went crazy just by saying that. As soon as you got animated, your whole screen just started.
Like too much movement. Her signal can't handle
right?
that.
Messing with the waves,
Yep.
All right. I appreciate y'all.
You tune in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Right now. Please pull over with no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul Sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. That like button would tell me where you at. Step from the NBK. Born and raised up NBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.